before we begin with the program of the day, can I have a speaker, please, Patriots? I'm just worried that we people will start raising hands towards the end, and they tend to delay us. We have time right now, so people can request the mic and start speaking. Yes, I've got Hotazo now coming on board. Hotazo, good evening.
Good evening, Mangalani. How are you doing?
I see you have left our good friend from Zimbabwe on the other space.
Who's that?
Hope.
I know.
You,
Let him
you,
remain there. We don't need him. He
you,
needs to
you
fix
know what?
Zimbabwean issues, not South African
You know,
issues. We can do it
you know,
ourselves.
you know what really frustrated me? It's
Yeah.
the amount of lies that people are prepared to go to just to justify staying in South Africa. I really can't understand why people will go to an extent of shouting and screaming and talking bad about South Africans, but they still want to remain in the country. To me, it just doesn't make sense. If you really hate South Africans and if you don't think South Africa is a great country, surely the
What are you
best thing
doing
for
here?
you. Exactly. So to me, the logical
Yeah.
thing will be for you to pack your bags and leave. And you know what also frustrated me, Khutazo? I saw Alu Alu Namda also raised the same issue. You know, this
Hmm.
Africa Check guys. I saw a lady over there. She gave stats that it they are so wrong, and nobody challenged her on the stats. Because she's saying there are about 600,000 Zimbabweans in this country. And we
And that's a
know
lie.
it's a lie. You know what? By their own admission, I'm talking about the Zimbabwean government. In 2013, they were already estimating that there are 2 to 3 million Zimbabweans who are in South Africa,
And
followed
that's
by
a fact.
about yeah, followed by about 200,000 who were in UK and about 40,000 in Canada, 30,000 in US. But somebody just now today in November 2021 comes up with the stats that says there's only 600,000. So then I realized that we have a problem. Oh, by the way, I made it my business to check where are these guys, Africa Check, getting their money. Guess what? This company was founded in 2012. Where? In
In
UK.
South Africa. Oh, okay.
No, the company was founded in UK.
Hey.
Mysteriously, the guys who they founded the company in UK, but guess what? The company is registered in SA. What is that telling you?
Hmm.
If the
Yeah,
founders are
there's a
in UK, the company is registered in SA. And the directors of that company, that Trifex, the directors were changed early this year. It was changed to Mahato and some other guy. All along, it was some English guys. So this Africa Check, really, we must take their stats with a pinch of salt, really, because I don't. And she says it's difficult to say, but they're about 600,000. You and nobody asks. Surely, if you're saying 600,000, what are you basing your number on? Anybody who comes up with the stats must be able to justify how they arrived at that number. No, nobody bothers to ask that. And nobody
yeah.
bothers to say, if you are claiming that Tito Mboweni was lying with his stats, why didn't you challenge him back then to say, Tito, you are lying? So surely you can't have the head of treasury, the minister, I'm talking about the minister of finance, lying and nobody says anything about it. So are we saying a minister of finance, Mboweni, was cooking the stats? I really have a problem. And as for the people who are saying, no, uh, remember this, uh, the guys in Zimbabwe left South Africa in 1847 to get to Zimbabwe. No, I always say it's a lie. They didn't leave South Africa in that year. There was no South Africa then. It was kingdoms. It was Shaka Kingdom. So you can't tell me when they. So by the way, cradle of humankind is credited with everybody understand that the modern human beings originated from cradle of humankind here in SA. So it means the entire universe, or the entire earth, the entire population must come to South Africa and claim that, oh, we originated from here. Therefore, you can't tell us that we are foreigners in this country. What madness is this, really?
Utter madness.
These guys are.
I think the structures were put in place by the powers that be so that they could use it against us, such as the constitution and many other things in South Africa that we see are wrong. Um, it's sad that we have to fight off people for our own land, for our own space, for our own resources. Yeah,
and and
it's a problem.
and that Brian Pan Africanist what he talks about people, so people coming from Tanzania. So it means all of us now South Africans can go to Tanzania and claim that you can't call us foreigners because apparently we originated from Tanzania. And by the way, who was documenting that history when we left? Because as far as I understand, there was no documentation of history. All I know is that this is a fact. All I know is that
Siyanyelwa kule country, siyanyelwa Mangalani, siyanyelwa.
Kwena, 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 Kwena,
Yes. Good
Kwena.
evening.
Wait. Let's not finish this. We'll come back to you. Let us finish this. So Kutas, I was also these guys really the disrespect that they the guy says no. He thinks all the restaurant workers must form a union, but guess what? They are even scared to say anything about union or politics in Zimbabwe. So that union must be formed in SA. And this the other states that is out. It's a lie, and people don't challenge him. He says lots of corporate South Africa ends majority of their capital outside SA. It's a lie. We know Afrikaners made sure that they were not dependent on anybody. So if there's anything, Africa benefits more from South Africa than South Africa benefiting from Africa. We know it's a
And that's
fact.
a fact.
If we
Yes.
close the Bait Bridge border, Zimbabwe will collapse in one day. It's a fact. So their entire economy is dependent on us. You see the trucks moving on N1 every day carrying copper. Those Zalawi trucks coming from Zambia.
Yeah.
If we close the Bait Bridge, it means Zambia collapse because what else does Zambia export? Zambia's
Nothing.
depends entirely on copper. So now somebody says, oh no, by the way, South Africa will suffer. It's a lie. I want him to justify economically how South Africa will suffer when the Afrikaners made sure that our economy was ring fenced from external factors. In 1993, our economy was able to function without any support from any other Africa. In fact, we had African countries coming and begging South Africans to say, oh no, can't you do something about this? That's precisely why you see. Sorry, guys. I just remembered that we have invited someone who is a labor, I would say not specialist, but labor practitioner who can help us a lot in labor matters. So I and he indicates that he may be leaving at 20 past. So I think before we start with anything, we still have a progress report. We still need to give feedback as to what has happened up until yesterday in our march. But let's allow him to give us the reason we are doing that. We need to make sure that we have people who understand our labor law and people who understand that what we are about to do, where we can get support. Because remember, we are about to embark on a journey that will rid this country of all illegal foreigners. So we want to make sure that year 2022, when the year comes to an end, we must not have any illegal foreigner in any sector. People who need to come in here, they must come in here legally. So on that note, I will ask Zolani, if you are on, if you are somewhere here, Zolani, you can request a mic. I'll give you a mic, so you can give us
He was
your.
here. He left.
As he left.
Yeah, I don't see him anymore. He was here when I came
Oh
in.
no, I see him now. I see him now.
Okay.
Zolani, if you can hear us, please take the mic and start. I still see him, Kwena. Zolani, please request a mic. We want to give you a mic so you can speak. Oh, I see he's not. I've sent him
Unless
an
if he changed his thing, profile, because he likes changing them. He had this one of Muzandile and mine in KZN. So that is why I
No,
say he left.
the one that he has now is he has a small. I think it's a small.
He likes changing profiles that much.
Zolani,
Hi.
please raise your. Please request a mic. We want to give you a mic so you can give us your expert opinion on the. Please send a request for. Yeah, there we go. Now there we go.
As we wait for him, just a reminder. Ya Kali Akai.
Oh, don't start
Yeah,
about
you're
the
This
such a
one.
bad
it was
singer,
fun. We
Khutazo. Like
weren't
even
going to
on
start.
that day of the match, you wanted to sing so bad. It's just that the voice. Allow Comrade Zolan.
It's not about singing here. I'm here to push the message. Ya Kali
Can you hear me?
Akai, ya Kali
Zolani, we can hear
No,
you loud and
Khutazo,
clear.
Comrade Zolan is
Yes,
here.
Zolani.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. Then I will start. If you can hear me, let
We
me
can
know.
Yeah,
hear
we
you,
can
Zolani.
hear you.
Oh, okay. No, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a lovely day. I think I want to hit it straight while it's still hot. Maybe I can just target a few. Let me start with this one of one, the Immigration Act in relation to labor issues. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Zolani. Go ahead.
Yes,
No,
yes.
you know, I'm a teacher, so I love feedback. So now, if I go to the Immigration Act of 2002, now before that, I would say all the laws emanate from the supreme law, which is the constitution of the country. So this one also, the Immigration Act, just quickly without beating around the bush, you have Section 38 of the Immigration Act of 2002. Now, Section 38(1) is very specific. So it's 38(1) A, B, and C. What it says is that no person shall employ, number one, an illegal foreigner. Now, I want to emphasize that part. It says no person shall employ an illegal foreigner. And I, because some of us might be lay persons, but it is not anyone's view or it is not anyone's opinion. It is law. It is, what do I say? It is regulated. So in other words, if you do the opposite, then it means you are violating the law and you might be arrested. So number one, it says no one shall employ an illegal foreigner. And two, no one shall employ a foreigner, right? Whose status does not authorize him or her to be employed. I'm not sure if that one is clear. By that, it means if you are, let's say, for example, you are a Nigerian or whatever, you had a permit from January to June and it expired. From the moment it expired, then you become a foreigner with a status that does not authorize you to be either employed or to be around. So that's what it means, that second portion. And the third portion is no foreigner should be employed on terms and conditions different from what the permit allows him to do. Right. And may I get a feedback then? Hello?
Yeah, no, we agree.
So there are three conditions here. The first one is one who is illegal. That is, you have no permit, you have nothing. And then two is this one where your stance, sorry, your status is not authorized. And the third one is you have a permit, but your permit does not allow you to work anywhere. So in that case, those three people are not allowed to be employed. Now, I want to turn this. The duty then is more put on the employers than the employed. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Yes.
Zola.
So the language of the act prohibits anyone to employ. So if they employ, they are the ones who are violating that very act of the immigration. Because sometimes you tend to get people, I'll say this because I know it and I've been writing about it on Twitter. What happens is you have someone who will get employed by this company legally. But here, make no mistake, foreign nationals, they look after each other's country. Man. So they will then organize a fake employment letter, fake in a sense that it is not authorized by the company. But because they say, for example, they are managers, they will sign and put their details. And when Home Affairs looks at that, they say, no, this one is valid. This one indeed has been offered an employment. But that person has not been offered an employment. Who committed fraud is the one who has the valid permit so that they can apply for a permit, though they are not working. So if you say, for example, the government can go around, take all the permits and compare to say, oh, this one says you work at, let's say, University of Witwatersrand. Let's go and check there your employment status. They will find a whole lot of inconsistencies that people are known to be at Home Affairs. They are known to be at vets, but in reality, they are in Parklands in Cape Town. Now, I'm saying Parklands in Cape Town because I lived in Cape Town. My family is in Cape Town. Parklands is becoming, actually, it is now over saturated and over occupied by non-citizens. By non-citizens, I mean foreign nationals. So that's what happens. That's why a whole lot of them are in the country. On paper, they look legal, but those fraudulent work permits. Now, the second one is the Employment Services Act. Now, the Employment Services Act, see if I was with my student. Now, if you go to Section 8.1 of that Employment Services Act, it is very specific. It talks about the employment of foreign nationals. It is also coming out of the Immigration Act, and it prohibits by saying an employer may not employ a foreign national. And I want you to listen to this properly. An employer may not employ a foreign national within the territory of the Republic prior to that foreign national producing an applicable valid work permit issued in terms of the Immigration Act. What it means is no one is allowed to employ anyone who's not a South African without a valid permit. And that valid permit is offered in terms of the Immigration Act. Now, that section 8.2 now continues to say, no, let me go to section 9 of that Employment Services Act. It talks about now an employer may not permit a foreign national to perform any work which such a foreigner is not authorized to do, or may not engage in work contrary to the terms and conditions of their work permit. You can't have a work permit which says you are a teacher, and then all of a sudden you work in agriculture. That is illegal. It is not allowed. And then it now talks about, I think, Section 8 again of the Employment Services Act. It talks about the employers must satisfy themselves that there are no other persons in the Republic with suitable skills to fill a vacancy before recruiting a foreign national. I'm not sure if this is clear enough, because it simply says, let me use a language that I think when I used during her interview to say, no employer can employ a secretary. Why? Because there are too many colleges in South Africa that produce secretariat qualifications. So South Africa is saturated with secretaries. So now you cannot, no employer is allowed to employ a foreign national, whereas there's a South African with the same suitable skills. So anyone who does that violates this Employment Services Act. And perhaps maybe some of you might not be aware, there is a law, I think that's because of pressure through the government. There's a law that is coming. Government is busy with that law, which says you have to have a quota of, you see in PSL, there's a certain number of players which are not South Africans that you are allowed to field, not field per se, that you are allowed to have in your club. If you exceed that, then the PSL will punish you. So now the government is trying to come up with that law with quotas. And the good news I read about is that law is going to become stricter. Companies who violate will get hefty fines, or companies will be closed for violating such a law. So that's basically what is within the labor sector relating to or regarding the employment of foreign nationals versus the employment of South Africans. So now if I go to my favorite, which is the, hello, someone must talk to make sure that I'm still audible.
You are. We are listening. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So now this one which is my favorite. Um, I sing it even in my sleep. Employment Equity Act. There is, maybe I can talk about things that people don't realize, the procedures and blah blah blah. And I also sit in in the Employment Equity Committee, where we make sure that we monitor the employer as far as the implementation of this act. And I normally say to people, it is the duty of every union to make sure that the employer adheres to the laws of the country. If they don't do it, then they are failing to be the union. So now what happens there is, if you employ a foreign national in this position, then one, you must advertise. Two, then you get the CVs, and then you are satisfied that there's no South African who applied or who has the skill. Then three, once you don't find a South African, you go out and headhunt, which is what a lot of people don't do. You come to me and say, hey, Zolan, I need a secretary with 2 years experience. Do you have any connections that you can provide me with CVs? Then I'll say, sure, I will provide you with CVs. Then you must produce evidence of those emails you have sent to me and show my response where I say, I have tried, I couldn't get any secretary. Then you produce that evidence. Once you produce that evidence to say, no, we couldn't find any, and then after not finding any, we went for headhunting, and after headhunting, here's proof of the responses I got from different people. You even go to these colleges that train for secretariat. You ask them to provide you with CVs. Then they should give you, then you can come and say there is no South African after so much effort. So, with sometimes, not all of them, with HR people, that route is taxing, where you advertise because it's expensive to advertise. Advertise, you get nothing. You re-advertise, you get nothing. Then you go and headhunt. So it's costly. Then people cut corners. So that's basically is. See, my view would be, you guys, the next step is not now to go to government. Once the momentum is built, it's to now target employers themselves. It's to target, if say, for example, you go to KFC and you say, today, KFC, you are not opening, or you are not going to operate peacefully. We're not going to disrupt your services. We are just going to spend the day here singing and enjoying ourselves. That way, it will send a strong message, because no one will be happy to continue business as usual when there are people making noise outside and people who are bringing unnecessary attention to the media. So I should think the next target would be now. I was talking to someone to say, now it needs to be regional now. Instead of it being national, let it be regional. You see, once it's regional, believe you me, the people who are making noise or who are obsessed about numbers, they will be shocked, because per region, you will get enough attention. When I say region, you say you come to Pulukwan, organize in Pulukwan. Then you will get more numbers from people from around Pulukwan. And that way, believe you me, the message will be loud and clear. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Zalani.
Thank you.
Highly appreciated. Noted.
Uh, Thanks very much, Solani, for that submission. It fits in nicely with our plan. Remember, initially was to make sure that we are visible. The next step is actually to do exactly what Zolani was saying right at the end. But I wanted people and everybody on the space in here to understand what is in the law, what we as Put South Africa First we can do rather than wait for the government, Because remember, and this is what I was saying to people this afternoon. A lot of people were sending me DMs, and some were even calling me excited.
Mangalani, can I just add one thing? Sorry to cut you there. Can Zolani please add all these laws on a tweet, right? Make a thread of them. We will share them so that people can be informed of the laws that can support whatever movement and activities that we will be doing, so we can educate more South Africans and tag us. Thank you.
There's all. Okay, go ahead, Zolan.
No. That I can do. That I can do. Once I'm done with what I was supposed to do, definitely when I have 10 minutes or so, I will put everything together. Maybe I wanted to say something which might have forgotten, but I wanted to bring this aspect of one thing that you guys, I think I did tweet about it during the week, which you might not be concentrating on. If you go to universities, you have academics who work there, you have professors who work there, which is fine. Some of them have scarce skills, okay? We give it to them. But you know what they do? Instead of that professor taking Ukwena for her master's and taking you, Mangalani, for a PhD, they will call back home, right? To say, Ewen, apply to do your master's, apply for a PhD. Then those guys from their countries will apply, then they accept them to say, no, I have the funding, so this student can come. Now you have that money. That money actually doesn't come from them. Let me tell you how research works. You apply for research funding. Now you can't get credit for applying for research funding because you are using the name of the university. It's not you who's applying. It is the name of the institution. And with that name of the institution, there are resources of the institution. Where do those resources come from? They come from government. How? Government gives the money to Blade, the department which is led by Blade Nzimande. Then Blade takes that money and gives it to universities and then gives some of it to NRF, which is National Research Foundation. That's the source of funding research. Now, NRF then will give these people money because NRF wants to uplift the standing of South Africa in terms of research within the world. So they will give them if the project is good. But then NRF will put a qualifier there to say, no, but you must produce students from this money. If we give you 5 million, within the next 5 years, we need 5 PhDs. But here's the problem, the weakness there. This guy will produce those 5 PhDs, indeed. But then the problem is those are not South African. But the money that produced those PhDs comes from the tax which I pay, come from the tax which you pay.
Yes,
And
Zolani,
in what way now?
Come with it. Yo.
In one way now, you are increasing the number of PhD.
Potato, can you please, Zolani, sorry. Zolani, Potato, please switch off your mic. Switch
No,
off your
he's
mic.
excited.
Potato,
Then you,
Potato, Zolani, please wait.
It's
Potato, you
off.
are making this thing hard. Please switch off the mic.
It's off.
so now you produce 50 PhDs for Zimbabwe.
Potato,
And
sorry
what?
again, Zolani. Can you please switch off your mic? Your mic, you have to switch it on and off. Please switch it off until it can appear that it's off. They will, otherwise now you are a speaker. Please switch it off.
I think it is muted now. So I was saying, say you produce 20 PhD graduates for Zimbabwe or for Botswana, but using whose money? It's the money that came from the tax, which is collected. But now, South Africans are not educated, though there's money for them to be educated. And you know these people, what they do. And I might sound, I don't want to lie, in my area where I operate, I'm not really the most popular leader, but I normally say if you want to be popular, go sell ice cream. Don't be a leader. Because I will stand there and say, no, let's begin to stop the practice of having HODs who are not South African. Look for South Africans who can lead or head. Two, that person who has a contract, we must write to that contract to say, within 5 years, we give you 5 years. Within that 5 years, Tina as the institution, we want 5 PhDs who are South African and no compromise there. So, but unfortunately, other institutions don't follow that route. And you can also then blame it also on the unions that operate there, putting that much pressure to say we are going to do this. So that's another area you can focus on academic institutions where there are serious problems. If we are not careful, those institutions will end up becoming captured by non-South Africans, while South Africans are not employed with the money from their parents and with the money from their brothers. They end up not getting educated. And when it comes to qualifications, they apply for jobs and this foreign national has a PhD and this South African does not have a PhD. And it becomes a problem. Yet that person used the tax money being supervised by their countrymen. So I would put that on the table for you guys to say, this is another project where you target now Blade in Zimande, target his department. Say, you Blade, you are not monitoring, but you pump money in institutions, you pump money in NRF, but you are not monitoring, which is the problem of our government. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Kat.
So, Lani, thanks a lot. I knew when we invited you, we knew that we are inviting someone with in-depth knowledge of all the issues that we are encountering in the labor market, someone who is South African, someone who loves his country, is a patriot, someone who's prepared not to be popular in search of making this country the better country for all of us. We really value your input, and more so in that it fits in perfectly in line with what we want to do next. What people saw yesterday, it was just the beginning. We are going to do a whole lot more, but we need patriots who understand the law. We need patriots who are firm. We need patriots who know the consequences. The consequences are that you will be hated. But guess what? In 20 years' time from today, you, you will be loved by a lot and lot of people because their eyes will be open. Leaders are those who are prepared to get into uncharted territory. Those are leaders. And you have followers. Followers are those who want to go where the masses go, those who want to follow the head, those who want to sing that we are xenophobic. So we are happy being called xenophobic. But we know we are being true to ourselves, we are being true to the current generation and the future generation. And I'm glad, Zolani, and from time to time, we will give you space uh, to offer your submission because we know your submission is always spot on. We know your submission is geared towards building this country. Your submission is geared to making sure that South Africans have skills, South Africans develop. I always say to people, those who claim that this so called African or all these illegal immigrants are educated. I always said it's a lie. People were educated before 1994. So this phenomenon that you are now giving them credit, I don't know where it comes from. Maybe when you were sitting under the tree in Morogoro, you were looking at them with admiration. But on this side, we know we had educated black people, the same as business people. We didn't. The first spaza shop to be opened in SA, it was not opened by Somali or Bangladeshi or Pakistani. It was opened by South African. The fact that those guys are supported by their government, they're given money for free to come in here. You know, I always said if you really want to know the true story, sorry guys, I just had a young one budging in for something else. My apology, my sincere apology about that. So I always say to people about this spaza that those people that you have, some people say, you know, these are very entrepreneurs guys. They know how to run the business. South Africans are just not competitive enough. It's a lie. No, I have yet to see South Africans, the groups of South Africans who were given money by the government to start spaza shop and fail. I can tell you they will not fail. All those guys are sponsored by their governments back home. Nobody, I'm surprised the government doesn't ask them, where's your bank account? You guys, if you are so entrepreneur, where's your bank account so we can see the tax? We can see how the money flow. We are now having people who have no bank accounts. Those people operate in hard cash. Why do they operate in hard cash? It's easy to move that money because all you have to do is convert it to dollar and ship it across the border to your home country. Those countries sleep inside the spaza shop. The government doesn't ask about hygiene. By the way, we know the bylaws of this country. That's not allowed. And the government doesn't allow you have government employee, you're not a government ANC cadre saying, yeah, these guys are very resourceful. I'm sorry. But that's not the point. That was just on a side issue. The issue that we need to discuss mainly, it's around our next move. Our next move, it's around occupying restaurant, occupying fast food that employ foreigners. So this is where we need to have South Africans who understand the law, South Africans who are brave, because we will walk into the outlet, we sit in there and order something and just sit for the whole day and tell them we will not leave until you get South Africans employed in here. So that means you write off the profit of the day, and we will continue to do so until such time that they see the need to hire South Africans. Be it we start with KFC, we start with Steers, or we start with Spare. We will decide where we start. And this whole thing now that people are excited that the minister announced that the ZEP will not be renewed. Come on, guys. Let's be honest ourselves as put South Africa first. Are we ready now to trust the government that for 28 years has done nothing? I tell you now, this Nigerians don't have ZEP, but they're all over and nobody's saying anything about that. The Somalis, the Bangladeshis don't have ZEP, but they're here. What is the government doing about it? Because you know what they're going to do? For the whole year, they will say, no, no, we're waiting for the end of the year. Come end of the year, say, no, the logistic of deporting these people, it's a mess, and all. They will tell us all sorts of stories. So we need to understand, as put South Africa first, that the future of this country is in our hands. And I have double checked with so many legal practitioners. I'm talking about legal practitioners as to what are the laws. What do the law say if we just go and sit and occupy that premise for the whole day? The, all legal practitioners came back to say, you know, it's very difficult for anybody to charge you. In fact, if there's anything, we know that we will get sympathy from police if we are not violent. And we know we won't be violent. We know that because the police that we marched with them yesterday, they were also excited to see us. They will say, guys, please bring us a bigger crowd. We don't want this. Bring us more. We are really not happy about the current situation. So we need South Africans who are committed, South Africans who are prepared to fix this country. South Africans who will not budge, South Africans who won't listen to this gimmick thing of saying, well, we are not renewed, but we're giving them 12 months. What is that? You are not renewing. Why do you need to give them 12 months? If you're serious about it, you would have said, we're giving you 3 months. Maximum is 3 months. And then only when you see that they sorry guys, those who are excited, yeah, be excited if you feel it's a start. But I really feel it's a slap in the face. If we look at, we can't afford to have 12 months of South African suffering. Guys, I don't want to hog the mic. I want people who want to talk. I also want to talk about the feedback, the monetary expenditure and how everything went in yesterday. I also want to give that report, but I'm cognizant of time, and Gwena will shoot me soon and complain that we're spending more time. Let me give others a chance to speak, and then we will continue from there. Guys, when we do speak, let's make it
No, do
short.
not accept anyone from Zimbabwe. I was chased out of their thingy and they started using their native language earlier on. So we'll
Fantastic.
not allow Zimbabweans to speak here. They
Fantastic.
even started speaking in Shona so we don't hear them.
Gwena, can I also say something? And it may sound very controversial, but it's something that we as Put South Africa First need to put our foot down. There are people who don't contribute, who don't offer donations for logistics, and who don't come. Those people are happy to just talk in space. I think Kwena and everybody, if we all agree, we need to start cutting those people because they end up just wasting our time. We are
I
into
also
action.
agree on that
We are into
because
action.
we want soldiers that can't be talking, being keyboards, whatever. This thing, we need people that are going to be on the ground equally. You can't just come here and be controversial and be wanting to tell us what we must do. And then tomorrow when we come here, someone was even saying to me, no, I'm pro South Africa. I don't understand what you guys are doing. I'm like, okay, geez.
Exactly. So I think we will give a space for people who really are serious. How do we know that we are serious? They come and do stuff with us on. Oh, sorry, Zolani is asking. Zolani, yes, you are excused. You can. I know you did say that you wanted to leave at 20 past, and you've given us more than enough time. So Zolani, yes, you can log off and leave. We'll chat next time. So let's continue on our point. We want only people who are serious about going on the ground, or people who are prepared to contribute for food soldiers like ourselves. Some of us don't mind doing both. We are happy to be food soldiers, and we are also happy to contribute. But we're really getting tired of people who come on space. They have fantastic, brilliant points, but come the time when it's action, they disappear. We really don't have time for that. We want to fix this country. I have said a lot, when I will leave it to you and Box.
I'm just still, I'm not happy about today's outcome. But I feel like we need to do something drastic come January, and maybe we actually even need to go to the restaurant like you are proposing. I'm supporting that call because that is the only way these people will ever even take us serious. Because I don't think we are ready enough to go to the borders and go safeguard the borders ourselves. So I think that will be a good initiation where we go to different outlets that employs these people and push for what Roland was speaking for.
Thanks, Kwena. You have a lot. Don't you want to accept those other speakers who want to speak? You can accept them, but please let's make it short and sweet, guys. We have the report that we want to give of what happened yesterday.
Good evening, compatriots. Good evening, everyone.
Or Good evening, Bongs, and how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. Sorry that I'm late. It was network issues. Yeah, it's raining this side. Maybe that is why I couldn't connect earlier. But then, nonetheless, I'm happy that I'm here. Just wanna say thank you to everyone who supported yesterday's march and movement. I had a great time, and we did get our message across. The presidency recognized us. They signed the memorandum, and yeah, but nonetheless, I just want to salute everyone who made an effort to come out yesterday and support this movement. I really, appreciate what I saw yesterday. Yeah, I'm touched, I'm moved, and I'm optimistic for the future that we have people who are so passionate about, this country. And yes, the news that we got today about 12 months. I also disagree with this 12 months thing. I was actually saying that, what? Because I was sitting with the Tutula guys yesterday, and those guys are really passionate. Those guys, they don't care. They just they get things done. Because I heard them saying that they go into houses where they get tip offs that there's an illegal activity that's operating in that house and so forth. They go in there, barge in, and all of that. So I heard them saying, what? Also, this thing of us going to safeguard the borders, along with Ntlantla, it will be a statement, to the SANDF and to the SEPs and the government, everyone, to say these people are really serious. Because, like, even I heard, guys from Limpopo saying that because we are closer to the border, we can do that, especially, young unemployed people, you can mobilize them and go, because we know that these guys are going home in December, January, when we know it's about time that they come back. Then they face a wall of people, a wall of soldiers, a wall of South Africans who are saying enough is enough. So yeah, this 12 months thing, absolute nonsense. And I think it's something that we have to challenge. But then again, we must not be disheartened, because really our efforts are being recognized. Our efforts are being taken into consideration, because if you hear a statement like that coming out, it's only a start. We still have the feedback that will come in 7 days. So you know what, guys, let's keep on pushing with this mandate. But nonetheless, I'm proud of you all, guys, and it was nice meeting you guys yesterday. Lovely people, lovely company. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bongs, for those wonderful words. The feeling is mutual, Bongs. We have a long way to go on this whole thing.
Yeah,
So,
indeed, we have a long way to go.
Kwena, and somebody please help me identify the order in which the speakers came through. Guys, we really want to make it short and sweet. I see you. I see this attorney, Zach
Before Anthony,
Muselani. Zach,
Mr. Kotato.
can I, Bongs, 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 can you, before you do that, can I just say something
No,
about,
Kotato was here already when I bonks.
can I just say something about, uh, can I just say something about attorney being Zach Muselani? The tone in which we had a complaint about our last space, the tone in which one of our ladies was addressed was not really, people found it to be offensive. So, Zach, I hope you will address that. Unfortunately, at the time when you came on the podium, I was experiencing an issue with my connection. So, to put it bluntly, I couldn't call you to order then. I would have done so because I also thought, even though maybe the motive on your side was good, but I thought the way it came out, it was really not right to the lady. So I thought, as soon as you come on space and we give you a podium, I will address that with you in person right here, rather than say it on the side and then people come back and say, but nothing was done. So I thought I should clear that. Thank you.
Zach, the floor is yours. Let's hear you say. I was also disconnected when all of this happened. But anyway, I was eager to hear you, come back and explain yourself for what you did, sir. Because, yeah, it was really, it was not only the lady, but a lot of people on this space, were really quite offended by what transpired, by, how rude you were to the lady when she was asking an innocent question, and there's no question that's deemed stupid. So yeah, Attorney, the floor is yours.
Hey, good evening, guys. How are you? How are you, boss?
Good, Zach, and how are you?
Good. I start with greetings to check if I'm audible. Like if I just say, am I audible? Am I audible? It sounds very disruptive.
Yeah, you
Yeah, now
absolutely
you're
spot
audible.
on.
We can
But
hear you.
now you are.
With respect, may I please not address that issue because the lady is not here, because then it will be a one-sided discussion that would seem as if I'm justifying anything. Maybe when she's there and we
No. It's not only the lady, by the way. People who are still on this space were there saying, you know what, we were offended also, even if he was addressing the lady, but we felt quite, astonished by, the amount of, I don't know if I can say hate speech, or I don't know how to put it, but then there are people here, I can see them, that came up after you left and said, hey, we are not happy, especially speaking to a lady like that also. No. So even if the lady is not here, but yeah, you can address that matter, because I think it will be the biggest elephant in the room.
The reason why I say I'm not going to is I don't remember. So now you're saying there's hate speech, and which sounds like a heinous thing. Now everyone else will think I committed hate speech. Well, when you put words like that, it's a red herring. I mean, how do I address that? I didn't say any hate speech that day. So I don't think it's fair, even for me to even answer you that I made hate speech when I didn't. But
No,
we don't.
hence why I say I don't know how to put it. But then whatever was, kind of mean I was not there, so I didn't hear whatever that was said by you. I only heard the aftermath, and that was after you had left.
Which that's why I'm saying, for fairness sake, so we can capture the real essence. Because now when you are including words and throwing them to stick, you see now it's not going to be easy for me to answer, because now somebody in their head already concluded that I've committed hate speech. Wawan. So to avoid all these things, we will say when she's here and I'm here, and we will engage it thoroughly. I promise you, I will answer. Is that fair? Can we not let it derail the purpose of this space? And we will create a
No, actually,
discourse.
no. Actually,
Uh,
wait. Actually, I just received a DM to say that the lady is here. The lady is here on the space.
Okay. So
so,
we're turning it into
so
an
let
arbitrary
no let,
proceedings.
No, but
Zach,
no,
no,
but it needs to be addressed. It cannot be swept under
bongs,
the carpet. Wait, it
bongs,
cannot be. It cannot be
But
swept
you,
under the carpet.
Bongs, you just
bongs,
were not there. I get.
bongs,
But
bongs,
yeah, people
No,
who were
no,
there,
no,
people
no,
who were there
bongs,
are still here. People
Bongs,
who
you,
were there are still
bongs,
here.
Bongs, you are not there.
bongs,
You are not there, right?
bongs,
Which means you don't know what you're
Yes, I
talking
was
about.
not there.
So when you are coming after me
bongs.
as if you were there, you see now you're derailing the proceeding. You're not there. What you're talking about is near here. Let it.
Hold
You are
on,
not there.
Patriots, hold
Uh,
on,
uh,
please, Patriots, hold on, Patriots. I was there. Hold on, Patriots, hold on. The simple thing that we
Guys, we are not going to have a civil debate if we are going to say he said, she said, and we start debating about who said what and who didn't say what. I would have thought, Zach, the reason we said it, if people are alleging that you have said something, and you are saying that, or if people are alleging that you've said something that they found it offensive, I will see it proper that if I was in your shoes, I will apologize and move on. But now that you are not apologizing. We will not cut you off like what a lot of people are saying. We will not cut you off. We will give you space to talk. But what we will do, we will then, I promise everyone that I will go back and replay the recording for everyone in here. Because I remember clearly the way your tone was, that it was as if the lady was clueless. Meanwhile, the lady was just finding out something. It was just a question. So if you're saying you can't remember, we are not going to force you to remember. We will give you space to for your submission, but please understand that if we're giving you space in protest, that your conduct last time was not proper. Thanks. You can continue, Zach.
For I will apologize for the tone. Those that came after me to talk to me afterwards, we did have a conversation, and I will apologize for the tone, but I will not apologize for what I said. I apologize for the tone if it sounded as if it was rude, but it wasn't rude. We're fighting a serious cause.
No, 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 no,
No,
no, no,
Bongs,
never, never.
Guys, we are not going to get anywhere. Let's allow Zach to offer his submission. You will get a chance to refute. But for now, the problem is we run the risk of spending 30 minutes discussing this issue instead of focusing on the real issue. Guys, yes, like I said, let's give Zach a chance to do his submission, and then it's an issue that we can take it up afterwards. For now, let's not have this dialogue between Zach and us on these issues. Like it was said, that we have a bigger fish to fry, so let's focus on that, guys. There's more that unite us than what divide us. We are not going to be fighting about this and get anywhere. Let's focus on what unite us. We will find time and deal with what divide us. Please, Pongs and Zach, continue with your submission.
Yeah, no, now I'm just here to report, or on a local level where I am, there's a need for you guys maybe to approach the leaders here at the Seshego Community Forum, because I even saw in some of our WhatsApp groups, they were uploading the campaigns, the posters, and today we had a meeting there at the office because we're officially opening the office tomorrow. And so I was just saying, actually, I wanted to call, but I didn't have time because I was in meetings even now, to say that maybe your presence with the leaders, I will connect you with them, will assist us as we go forward. What we are going to do, what we currently have done today, have resolved, is to approach Coxter in Limpopo, because we want to deal with the issues here, the RDP, in terms of making sure that those RDPs belong to the citizens that actually need them. Secondly, we are also going to approach council, because council has been inaugurated and constituted a couple of days ago. We are approaching council regarding the issue of special shops. Because during lockdown, even before lockdown, we were doing raids, finding, like expired food, harmful food, together with the police. So here we already have the support of the police You know, I was happy when I forgot it who in the space who said that the police at the march at Pretoria were happy to see them, and then they say they need even more. The police here are happy. You see, the problem is that most people are afraid because the people who are in charge as the employers, they are afraid of them. They're afraid of they will be seen as they are xenophobic or so on. So when they see community activism, that's what they want to rally behind. So yes, as I said, your presence and engagement with the leadership here, I believe it's now necessary to rally to push the message forward, because as much as people are not saying put South Africans first, here where I live in Seshego, that is literally the attitude that roams around. It was even more present. Coffin Ralinya, one of the ladies who was killed by that Zimbabwean guy. Yeah, it was not a good service. So I think, yeah, that's that. I was just saying that your presence now is because those people are not on Twitter. You know, they're not on Twitter. Mostly they are on Facebook. We're on WhatsApp groups. There's plenty of, I think maybe 2 or 3 WhatsApp groups where everything that we do for the community with the community is discussed there. In fact, we were supposed to have a meeting on Sunday, but it was heavily raining. We had planned a meeting where we were going to discuss illegal immigration and the way forward. So today we had a meeting to say we planned. In fact, one of the reasons why I was in that meeting, I was actually helping them draft a letter to Coxstar to take it, because what we want to do is a lot of people sidetrack us by thinking we will be unlawful in our actions. And we're trying to be as civil as possible. And some of the things that we were told by the police was, as long as we are within the law, they are more than welcome to protect us when we protest, when we submit this. What we want is actually to lead a meeting with Coxstar. What we also want is a meeting with both Polokwane Municipality and Capricorn District, and also the Department of Economic Development, because we don't just want a situation where these spaza shop infrastructures are now vacant and we don't want anything to do with them. What we want is the economic development in Limpopo to go to the provincial legislature to pass a bill where they then invest in funding South Africans to run those infrastructure and do and run spaza shops there once they become vacant. So we want to do everything by the books. We want to what we want now understand is that government, particularly the ANC, does not want to come forward and say put South Africa first without seeing what the community is saying. And so if the community come forward and say these are our ideas, this is what you should run with, then government is able to say, well, our decisions is legitimized by what the people want. So now I was just coming here to say there's a need for your leadership to come down regionally and locally and discuss with the local leaders, because like I'm saying, they might not be pushing put South Africa first or South Africans first in the literal sense and the hashtag, but the attitude is the same on the ground. And the attitude is very local. So from put South Africans first to put the locals first. And I believe that what you guys have already achieved would need that guidance so that we move in, to also avoid the things where we become extremist and we start being unlawful and killing people. You just want to control the situation, because right now, if you look at it, the media and other people who are undecided swings, they want to see, within which boundaries are we acting. And so far it has been brilliant. The leadership was able to guide that. Now my wish for me was to say, calm down as well, lead the leaderships in the local. And I believe that they're more like that. Because that lady who went to a funeral, the others were still waiting. Their bodies are being released one by one from the government mortuaries with postmortems and police investigations. the lady does not live in Seshego. She lives in a nearby village called Amavuja. And there they were starting with, evictions and stuff like that. And we're trying to control the situation so it doesn't seem as if, look, South Africans are irrational and xenophobic, but to say we've got a serious case. If this man was accepted within our community, as somebody who's needing help, but then he ends up doing this and we couldn't trace them. A lot of you don't know that that man was actually captured by a local faram in the Wahomu for a different crime altogether. And when they questioned him and winked, he then started divulging this information of different people. In fact, we believe that there are more. We just are deprived of access to him there at the prison cells in Polokwane. But we believe there's more because there is a serious missing of people lured in the same way he led those ladies. What he did was he went to them, and most of them are that like the lady we went to bury at Ramavucha. She's a graduate. She graduated this year. The pictures that we were sharing of her are her recent pictures of graduation. So the one truly that disappeared the same day as those Moti boys. It's the same thing. She sends them WhatsApps and SMSs and say promising them jobs and coming to pick them up, and then they disappear. So the people, we were just trying to control the situation so that it doesn't become volatile. And my wish is so, you guys there in Gauteng at least be in communication with the leaders here on the ground. So what personally me and some other people provide as professionals is that professional help for them. Like I'm saying, in the legal side, we're asking, how can we do this legally? How can we do this? How can we approach in terms of urgency? Who do we go to? And the first thing that we're going to is Coxstar. The second is the municipal, the municipality, the two municipalities around us, and then the Department of Economic Development. Because at the end of the day, there's this idea that if you kick out these foreigners, what is going to happen to the gap? Will the economy improve? And that's where we're going to say it's not just about that only. It's about we want to show you that in a working government that prioritizes its people, that economic development can happen. And so we don't have these rhetorics about, foreign nationals bring variety, but you haven't exhausted the variety you have, as if people are not graduating, whether it's TVET colleges, whether it's, TUTs or traditional universities. We have not explored that as a country. Today, we've got stats that have been released that 3 million graduates are unemployed. You want to tell me there isn't any variety in that? So I agree with the call that you guys have taken there at leadership level, national level, to say you're going after restaurants. I also say please come down, because at local level there are different issues, also legal, also requiring the enforcement of already existing laws. Because we're not asking Polokwane municipality to call on the SAPS to do something out of the ordinary. We are looking at the bylaws that exist in the municipality, and we're saying we have them. Why not enforce them? And at the same time, when you enforce them, we're in a provincial government, we remain with a lacuna, with a gap. And so time to fill those gaps by developing South Africans. There are those that want to be entrepreneurs and just run a spaza shop. There were successful spaza shops in the early 2000s, towards the late 2000s. They were there, So why can't we have them? We have not been told why we can't have them. But the market has been back infested to a point where it's very bad for competition for South Africans. And no one in the liberal sphere is providing any study for that. No one is writing any thesis for that, But they're more than welcome to share rhetorics like South Africans are lazy and so on and so forth, but refuse to give a grounded, well-formed study as to why is there bad competition for South Africans to create in the spaza shop industry, which is the economy that actually belongs to us. In fact, the spaza shops economy was supposed to develop to being where South Africans occupy what we call malls now, instead of ShopRite coming to take over. But I will conclude there.
Okay. Thanks, Zach, for that submission. Mainly, we gave you the platform so you can update us mainly on the uh, situation around community in Sishihu, and we know about that Zimbabwean who killed 7. And like you said, there is I wouldn't say expectation, but it's suspected that there were many more that were killed by that Zimbabwean. And as for put South Africa first going to the ground, I suppose the ground mainly here you are referring to the rural economy or the people in not so in deep rural but in semi-rural or semi-urban. That's something that is well noted. It's something that we will need to sit and discuss because yes, we will be running these programs, but let's be honest to ourselves and let's be true to ourselves. Mainly our programs will be around urban area and not so in rural area. And we see a scenario where we kick them out of urban area and they all move to semi-urban area. So it's something that you're right, Zach. We need to sit and discuss. And of course, seeing that you're already on the ground on that side, I think we can take a cue from people like yourself because you are already liaising with people on the ground. So it will be much easier if we are dealing with people who know exactly what is happening on the ground in their respective communities. Thanks for that, Zach. The other issue will deal with it. I commit to say, well, I will go back and revisit and look at it and take it from there. uh, uh, Bong Sokwena, please assist me. Who was next as a speaker?
Next in line, we have no name brand Dreamer Sip, and then after her, it will be Lebo. After Lebo, it's Tina, in that order.
Hi,
Bongs, can we just
Lebu had her
sorry,
line
no
up.
name
I
brand.
think she can speak. She had her friend first. Can she speak?
Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you. Oh, okay, it's Lebo first, then it's you, and then Tina after. Thank you for that.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Okay, now I've been following the movement for like since you guys started, and today when it happened I was actually happy, but now I couldn't attend because of my health and all that. So that's why I couldn't attend. And also today on that space, which is a hope, they said something about restaurant that really angered me because they make it seem like getting a restaurant job it's nothing, but bona they are occupying that space. And to be quite honest, not all of us that are privileged to get education. There are people who really do need those jobs, who will really appreciate working as a waiter. And the main reason why but they are saying waiters they're not even getting salaries, it is because of them. Same people, the same foreigners who made that, who ended up changing that to they must work for tips. Before, waiters had like some
Le,
where I used to work,
le,
they would
Lebu,
pay me probably. Yes.
Lebu. Yes, we know all of
Mm-hmm.
what is being said by. Yes, it's just
Yes.
drivel. Don't read too much into it. I think for now on this space, let's
Oh, okay.
focus more on the solution. The problem we already know, and I can tell you now, you know, rest assured that everyone who's on this space agrees with you 100%. Everyone who's in this space knows that what Hope and all other Zimbabweans are saying is just they are dreaming. If they were honest, they will go back in their country and implement what they're talking about. So let's focus on what Put South Africa First has to do to implement our program of action and fix this problem that we are having.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to also talk about what I forgot his name. He was talking about a way forward in terms of not breaking the laws or what is happening according to labor laws. I'm actually happy because now I realize that we actually have a fight a fighting chance, because some of us we didn't even we knew about some rules, but we didn't know that we can go in an extent of us having to go to those restaurants and sitting there without having to fight with anyone. I'm actually happy with the information that we got today. Personally, I'm happy because I was clueless in some instance. Or now, what is the way forward? I also wanted to know. I also wanted to ask you guys, Hore, can you please update on your? You can even put it as pins, Hore. Where can people report people who are hiring illegal immigrants? Because I think most people they have this issue, but they don't know where to go. And if you say on the space but you didn't write anywhere for someone else, I can say go and check Gwena's page. Probably it's updated there so that we can know now where are we reporting these people. And then if I'm a catering, I was a customer, and when I got there I found a lot of foreigners. I know where can I report such instance. Thank you.
Thanks, Levo. I think, Levo, what you need to do is join our notification group, and so you can stay up to date. What we are doing as Put South Africa First is everybody who retweet Put South Africa First, we quickly make sure that we follow that person or that person follow us, so that way we can stay informed as to what is happening around us. And what we will do when we get into the program of action of occupying these restaurants and fast food, we will identify the ones that we can occupy on a given weekend or on a given day, and we will implement that as a group. So it won't be 2 or 3 people going in there. It will be 50 or 100 people, just like yesterday, going to sit in there and publicize it so everybody knows. So all restaurants around the area know that if you are employing illegal foreigners, chances are you will lose a day in a month where the Put South Africa First guys will come and sit, not fight you, sit for the whole day. We will bring water. We will bring our own drinks. We will sit in there and bring our own food. We'll sit in there for the whole day. Let's see who stands to lose between us and them. If they lose a day's income, a day's profit in a month, we know it will hurt more than us. They will feel it, and knowing that they are likely to lose 12 days in a year, that is 12 days that they can't afford to lose. So Level, keep in touch with the rest of the team so you can also influence the decision making. Thanks.
You can drop me. Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. Good evening. It was nice to meet people yesterday, and I think what I wanted to find out is the legality of the Put South African First. Is it an organization? Is it registered? Or, how is it set up in terms of organogram, in terms of then the formalization of the organization? Because I think for me, I think that it's important, the formalization of it. As much as we focus on the activities, I think putting structures, I think it is going to give us a more visionary and more mileage. I'm just finding that out. And that will enable people with different skills and talent to be able to contribute, because not everyone can go to matches. And I mean, say there's some people, you know, that are committed, working or whatever, since matches are during the week and they can't come, but they can always, they have their skills and they are specializing in certain departments, which I think, you know, we have those roles has to be there, like, you know, roles and responsibilities, like the law, I think, you know, fundraising. I think also what Zek was talking about, then if we add economic development and, you know, and research and development as well. And personally, I feel as well that we can also move away from Twitter. We use Twitter as a way of awareness, but not necessarily as the main platform, because there are spies, you know, there's a lot of, especially when it comes to things like planning and all that, everyone can just, you know, budge in and budge out, and you just never know. As the voice gets higher, you know, people, they start noticing, and then, you know, the spies as well, their voices, they start making noise. And I mean, say there's other platform, but I think when we were chatting yesterday, someone said on Facebook they keep on blocking them, you know, when they're trying to post something. So that also, you know, we trying to see how then we can get outside of Twitter, and then, you know, how then do we organize ourselves outside of Twitter in terms of maybe building our own platform that we do not have to be limited in terms of, yes, we can still use it as a way of communicating whatever that we're doing, but I just feel some of the things we can then have where we have our own platform, then we have the freedom, and then everyone can join in from every social media, or someone who's not even on social media, you know, in terms of organizing ourselves. And then as well, collaboration, because I've saw that there's a lot of different organization, how then does everything link up? And because I feel that, you know, there have to be a time when we are able to take the government to court. You know, we should be get to that point where we can take the government to court and challenge them on these things and laws and all that. But those things need us to be organized, and it also need money. We, like, for instance, that the law department will be responsible for that and will be able to take care of that and leading us in terms of that. And then the fundraising will be able then to say, this is the budget or whatever, you know, whichever way that we have to do. Because I mean, say on Twitter, we have like 9.3 million people. And just remember that in South Africa, and just remember that even that 9.3 people have double accounts. So I would even put that into half people that are active on Twitter. It's probably around 4 million or less than that, you know. And I also feel that we also have to move away from being entertaining, you know, because they're provoking us every day. They're trying us, you know, to get us to, you know, to respond and all that, which I just feel we have to find a way now to just not entertain them, but focus on our vision and exactly what we are trying to do. Personally, I'm in IT, and I am willing to volunteer on that department in terms of getting that up the ground, the website, whatever, you know, everything, the post and all that, to get that up, or then just the team for IT. I'm volunteering that. Thank you.
Thanks, no name Brent. Let me try to answer all your questions in one go. And I prefer going directly to the answers to your question. Let's start with the spy issue. To me, that spy issue, I'm not worried about it. We've been spied to I don't know how many times, but as long as there's nothing to hide, they can do whatever they want. Imagine this: if the previous administration could not get rid of AfriForum with all the resources and with what AfriForum was doing. They had all the spies. I'm sure they pulled every trick on the book, but they still could not get it right, because in this country we follow the law. So if everything of what we are doing is within the boundaries of the law, there's nothing to fear. Hence, yesterday you saw there were a lot of people who didn't show up because they were scared. Somehow they are now becoming like Zimbabweans. They are scared of fighting what is right, and they're asking Zimbabweans to fight, but they themselves can't fight what is right. So I don't want us to be hypocrites. If we're saying to the Zimbabweans they must go fight their ZANU PF, hence we don't want to get involved in their ZANU and all those things. We as South Africans, we must be prepared to do the same when we know that we are hurting, we are feeling the pain. So I'm not worried about the spy and all those things. They can spy. I'm sure yesterday they had, I don't know, countless spies. But the point is, even within the spies, there are people who are sympathetic to our cause. There are people who are saying we are tired of chasing, of going around chasing our tails. These guys are a problem, but they can't say it loud because of fear of our politicians. So I'm not afraid of that. And I challenge everyone, I say to everyone, don't be afraid. There's nothing to be fearful of, because we are within the boundaries of the law. Before we do anything, we check and double check that it's within the law. And if it's within the law, there's nothing to fear. There are people who say, no, they will come and round you up. No, there's no such. We're living, guys, we're living in South Africa. We have laws. As for Put South Africa First being what is happening, the legal status, Put South Africa First, it's a hashtag, but there was a lobby group that registered Put South Africa First, but hashtag Put South Africa First is not a registered entity. So we are all, hence even so Dudula guys came to support us, because everyone understands that we are fighting for the same cause. So we don't need to be one group. You can be multiple group as long as we support each other. That's what's required. Like on Sunday, I am going to Yeoville to support the Dudula guys. So I know they are setting up the Dudula office in Yeoville. It is nothing. If you think about it, it's not about Put South Africa First. But we feel that it's all about South Africa, what they're doing. So we will support them as well on Sunday on the 28th in Yeoville. So we don't need to have one global structure, because when you have one big structure, you are likely going to have infights and people fighting for position and all those things. But if you have multiple groups, as long as they all understand the goal is the same and they are prepared to support each other, that's what you need. Hence, you saw yesterday there were many people in there who went onto the podium to give a word or two. Those people probably come from various entities, but they all united around one cause. So that should not be a problem. I think what we need to do is no-name brand. If you feel that there's a service that you can provide, brilliant. We are already, some of us are already offering a service as well, that we feel that, I can offer this. But please, when you offer those services, just don't expect reward, because there's nothing. I mean, we don't have anything as Put South Africa First.
No, no, I'm not expecting anything.
Yeah,
I
no,
think we all understand that it's voluntary work. I mean, say
and
we
yeah,
can't be expecting payment, and it just doesn't make sense.
thank you. And also understand that you will be, I mean, you will also be, I don't want to say expected, but you will also support other groups. It doesn't matter which group you are in. We try make sure that all Put South Africa First movements are within, we all collaborate. We don't like each one group fighting the other and all those things, because really, if you do that, you're just giving an opportunity to government to get away with murder, and we don't want that. So feel free to approach any of us, and we are more than happy to send you to the relevant people who can assist you. If you want to do something, by all means. As for setting up,
I
as
think the
for
reason why I'm asking, like for instance, now people are donating. What is the legality of receiving a certain amount of fund, as much as you are NPO declaring that, such things, because then you don't want to find yourself now. We are having issues on the legality part side of it. I understand that, personally, I still feel that structures make the organization strong. I'm not saying necessarily that now it has to be that formal, but that just allow, you know, the organization to grow in a organic way, and it grows. Obviously, I'm not saying that we are separate, because we are all fighting for one thing, and which I support. And every even if we can list all those organizations in the website or whatever, everyone who wants to post, because for instance, we can then like people, they can't post on Facebook, but what they can do on our website or in our app, then we can share these stories, we can write our own articles, we can have our YouTube channel, all those things. Then we can even use that to fundraise the funds through adverts and all that, writing our own media statements and making, you know, and changing the narrative that the media, you know, it's putting out there. Have people read our stories that are written by us.
Let me answer you on legal matters around accepting donations. Accepting donation is governed by regulation that Reserve Bank has issued it issued many years ago. It's around that if you it's similar to investment club or stokvel. So if you have an entity, as long as in your constitution it's not you don't have exclusion where it's based on race or anything like that, Reserve Bank will allow anybody to offer donations as long as it's and you allow the books to be audited by obviously a registered accounting entity. So we don't have an issue on that. As for registration of NPOs, like I said to you, that we have various NPOs that are registered. We just don't have one NGO that we all say this is our mother body for all activities, but we converge all the time to have discussions around the program of action. Are you with me? Are you clear, or you still have questions?
Oh, can I speak now? It seems like she's done. Mangalani.
Yes, Galela,
I'm the one who's speaking. No, I'm the one who's
sorry,
speaking.
Tina.
I'm the one
Tina,
speaking.
okay. Sorry, Tina, go ahead.
Nami into bengizokhuluma, it's what it basically line of what No Name said, because I had asked Bongs, and I had also mentioned in the group of how of the structuring, and so that we can also set up donations of maybe monthly donations or whatever happens, because I run an NPO, and I know how important the 50 rands that we can afford are, because manje an account for a business account, when donations were taken out, we were only told like 2 days before we're gonna be needing donations before the March. It was like 2 days before, and then at first it was taken out a business account for a business, and then the second one was the hashtag put South Africa first, but also it was a sole prop account from FNB. So as a person who knows those things, it raises questions about the organization. Why is something registered as a sole prop by somebody else? Because the second account from FNB is registered as a sole prop, because if an account confirmation, if it's registered as a company that's registered on CPIC, it should have a registration number. If it's registered as an NPO, it should have a registration number for an NPO. But we're moving on from that. Let's say if businesses want to donate and they would like to maybe claim back from tax, like for me, I have an 18A tax exemption certificate. So let's say businesses want to donate a lot of money, so they can't do it through the Put South Africa First, because there's no organizational structure. It's really a problem, because even the organizing, it was not really nice, because we had to come on Twitter. I mean, I had even said in the group, I'm off Twitter because all these things are annoying me. All these things these Zimbabweans are doing on Twitter, they're annoying me, and I know myself. I had said that. The ones in the group, they know that I had said that. I didn't even lie. So I was like, no, I'm off Twitter, I'm off Spaces, I'm not going to entertain this. But even in the group, guys, you were not updating us that much. I had to come on Spaces to at least find out what is happening. So organization, it's really needed. and a registration, even if it's not exactly called Put South Africa First, but give us an organization that says, okay, if I am setting up a debit order as a person who Put South Africa First, if I'm not always going to be there, because yes, I will not always be there. I run my own NPO. And on top of that, apart from that part, I also have numbers. If I was told properly, proper organization, I have numbers in Soweto. I could have filled up 3 buses myself with the people that I work with in Soweto, but there was no organization. I did not know
Tina,
anything until last
Tina,
minute.
Tina, let's get one. Let's make sure that we understand what we are doing here. And and sorry if I am sounding to be rude. Please, guys, call me to order if I'm sounding rude. But we need to set the record straight. You see, uh, remember, guys, we should not expect somebody to do something, because that somebody also have something. They also have their source of income. Probably they let's just say they have daily work, so they probably don't have time to be focusing on this alone only. And if you understand, if you have a job that you have to do from 7 in the evening, in the morning till 7 in the afternoon, new, hence we said anybody who can contribute. It wasn't, and it wasn't that we were saying that you have to contribute. No, anyone who felt that they also support the cause. And if you felt that you could do it, there was nothing that's stopping you from asking people who were saying, please donate, to ask them directly, or even ask their number so you can have a discussion with them on WhatsApp or any other social media, or direct calls for that matter. But the problem is, we mustn't expect this is the project for all of us. And we mustn't expect some people who are already doing something to say, well, they should have done X, Y, Z. Yes, there's probably a lot of things that they should have done. But most probably they didn't have time. And had you offered yourself, Tina, to say, I will help you with this and this, they would have appreciated a lot. They would have said, Tina, well done. Please take this and run with it for us. So in essence, I'm saying, guys, this whole issue of trying to blame somebody and say this person should have done this, it doesn't work. We went yesterday because we felt strongly. We don't have an organization that say you must be there when these things happen. No, it's all of us are saying, you know what, this project is bigger than egos. This project is bigger than all of us. So if I feel strongly about it, I will go and support it. So if you feel strongly next time, Tina, approach anyone. And there's nothing that stops you from saying, guys, this is what I have. How can you assist me? Remember, we are not saying all of you or everyone has to be part of it. We are saying if you have something and you feel you can support, or if you feel you need support, we will gladly support you. Like the Dudula guys yesterday, they felt strongly that this is not about an individual, this is about a cause. So, guys, someone on our side approached them to say, guys, do you mind joining us? They said, by all means, we are happy to support you guys, and we are coming. And they did come. So, I'm saying this to Tina to say, Tina, don't feel that there's somebody who has to run this. You also, responsibilities on you to do something about it. We are all trying to do something in our spare time. And I think what I expected from you was to say, guys, you tried. We saw you fail here and there. This is how we can improve next time. Like we said to people who donated, to say, we really appreciate the little that you donate, even if it's 20 rand. It went a long way. We can't say to people, oh no, 20 rand can do nothing. No, it doesn't work that way, guys. I think we need to get into the habit of being being thankful for what others are doing, and actually help them improve, not help them, not drag them. That is not going to take us anywhere. That is the spirit that I want, because this fight is not for those, like I'm saying, if we're going to occupy something, it's not for the faint hearted. You may sit for the whole day and you get hungry. You're tempted to say, well, let's just leave. You would have lost. Thank you.
Okay, as what I'm saying is you taking my point completely different from what I'm saying. I'm saying because the option of helping is out there now. At first, I had the impression that there is a body. That was the impression I had gotten. That is why I am addressing this now. Now I know. And firstly, I do have an NPO and I am willing to help with numbers, but it was not considered.
You had a chat with Bongs, and I can tell you now, with Bongs here on the line, this was not communicated to anybody. The first time that I'm learning about it is now. But and by the way, and I'll put my head on the block on this one. It was me and Kwena who was actively saying to people, and we even gave people an account to donate. So surely we expected you not to point fingers, to call us. We gave the numbers out and we are always available. Our DMs are open. So we expected you, if you had issues, to call us and say and question us. If you are not happy about something, take us to task and say, guys, I'm not happy about this. This is what I want you to be doing. I'm also, but to come in and say, well, by the way, I also had numbers. Guys, fine, you have numbers. Guess what? We are moving to the next campaign, and we will appreciate if you can pull that number. This is not about me. It's not about Kwena. It's not about Bongs. It's not about Tina. It's about our country. Sometimes we need to put our differences aside when we are fighting for the country. We need to remember what is at stake. What is at stake is the future of the current generation and future generation. We can't afford to be squabbling. Remember, I even said many times, I said I was hesitant to take anything before we had anything confirmed about the match. Because I was not happy to say we'll accept people's money and then only to find that, oh no, people have donated and you're saying, oh well, we have a problem. Now what do we do? No, we're not prepared to do that. We said that over 3-week period when we were organizing the match. Thank you, Tina. You are more than welcome to engage us if you have any other issues. And I'm more than happy to drop you, to DM you my number so we can always discuss if you are happy with that, Tina.
Please do so. Ngizophuma manje space bese ngisho nasegroupini ukuthi ningacabanga ukuthi ngiyaduba or something. We can speak on WhatsApp or exchange numbers. Ngizophuma manje. I need to make a call.
Good. I'm going to DM you my numbers right away.
Sanbonani, guys. Nine question.
Mangalani, why are you jumping me? I was on the
Ask us
long time ago.
Oh, Imani guys. Whoa, wait. The next speaker, by the way, it's Mampolo first, and then it's Galela. And then you know what, or you know who you can follow.
No, but Mate is
Thank
not
you.
going to speak. His people stopped me from speaking in the afternoon. I said that we're no longer accepting Zimbabwean speakers here. No,
Wait, who? Who again?
Mate, whatever his name is. I don't know. What is his name? This guy here with with whatever old pictures, he knows himself. But Bongs, he will not speak, otherwise I'll be very destructive. And I'm very energetic because I've been waiting to get back here.
Okay. No problem. Mate won't speak then if that's the case. Ne? I didn't know anything, but I was not accepting Mate. I was saying Mampa.
No,
And by
he's
the way,
here.
Mampa
He's already
is
on
now
the
gone.
podium. He's got a speaker. He's next to Mampa.
No, not Mate. I was saying Mampa.
Yeah, but
I
you
think
said you
didn't hear
accepted
me
him as the speaker, so you must remove him as the speaker. Rather,
I
he can
didn't
listen.
accept Mate.
Or kick him out. They kicked me out. Okay, you must kick him out because I can use my other account. You must kick him out. No, you must be kicked out the same way I was kicked out. Otherwise, we are going to speak Setswana, because of they were speaking Shona after they saw me there.
Okay, Mate is kicked out. Done.
There was Matlala who was next on the line, and then I see Matlala is dropped off. So let's have Galela. Galela, the mic is yours.
Hi, good day, everyone. Am I audible, Mangalan?
Yes, you are. You are.
Okay. Maybe Mangalani, if you, with your permission, can I just address the questions raised by No Name and what's the lady that has just left, even if she's no longer here?
No, I
You
think
know,
what we'll do, no, Galela, what we
hmm?
risk going back and forth. They
No,
will
no,
come
it's
back.
not going back. I think it's important that we also offer the information. I mean, they ask specific questions
Go
whether
ahead.
put some
Go ahead.
first, whether there is an entity. There are 4 NPOs registered under the movement. You know, there are 4 separate NPOs. All have different versions of Put South African First. Now, I think to avoid, because the challenge is you get new people coming in all the time and you get the same repetition. Why don't we have a formal structure? You know, let's formalize this, let's have bank accounts. Good people, that has been done. There is a suggestion that was made by, I think it's No Name, to say that perhaps those NPOs that are already there, you can put them and new people can then join in because we are all doing the same thing. And I can confirm that we know each other, we've spoken to each other, and what there's something that Attorney Law was raising earlier, and it's something that the NPO that I'm part of, we are in the process of doing. It's a pity that we got interrupted by the lockdowns, but it's important to have constituencies in the communities where we are. Twitter is okay, but it's got limitations. When we need to do things, we need people, we need human beings because the all the things that we are doing are practical things. We are solving real problems that involve communities. So the NPO I'm in, we were in the process of setting up structures in different communities. I mean, we all come from somewhere. So if, for instance, we are from Tembisa, in our NPO, the people from Tembisa, they are in a group. So they know when there are issues, they get together, they discuss. I think generally as a movement, we need to get to that point because, you know, we can occupy a restaurant. I don't have a problem with such campaigns. But after that, we need to then know what is the objective. We need to know what that has achieved, you know, etc., etc. So maybe to avoid the same question coming, you know, up all the time, because someone new will join space and ask, is there a formal entity for Put South African First? I would suggest that the existing 4 NPOs, we put them there, people join, and along the line, we will then find a way of coming together, maybe under one umbrella. But we cannot carry on, you know, Twitter, we can discuss campaigns, we can discuss certain things, but there has to be, you know, a structured way of working. Yeah. I mean, for instance, yesterday within the march, the reason we could invite Tutula, Operation Tutula and Tutula Alex and the other organizations is because we are structured, we've met with them. That's why we sent an invitation for them to come. You know, they've met us as people, you know, they wouldn't have come if it was just, if we just send them a message, for instance, through Twitter. So, but I just want to emphasize that we need to think about growing in the communities where we are, so that as well, when there's an issue in a community in Limpopo, we know that patriots that are in Limpopo will go and support, you know. Yeah, that's just what I want to suggest. And the programs of actions that we want to do, it's important that we all work together so that we don't end up having clashes. I would suggest that we find a way of the whole South African First community coming up with a program of action for a year, and then we can find a way of dividing, in terms of organization. Thank you.
Thanks, Kalela. And who was next?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Mampolo.
I
Sorry.
think Mamba
Yeah,
is
I'd
back.
like to
Okay.
apologize. It's Mampolo. I said Mamba if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. Mampolo Matlala. Yes. That's the name I was calling for, Kwena, not the one who you wanted us to kick out. I was not recognizing that one. But anyway, it's fine. Mampolo, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Hi guys, and thank you for allowing me to be in the space. Firstly, I would just like to say thanks to the co-organizers of yesterday's match. And I think you guys did a very good work. I mean, we've got different opinions from the group. We've got opinions about structures. We've got opinions about registration and. And I just want to say, on whatever there is being said now, let us just ignore it, because I believe that if somebody sees a problem in this movement or sees that they can contribute in this movement, let us say, why is this not done? Let us volunteer our services and say, guys, I think this is the way we should go. That's the that I wanted to say. We have been talking about monies and I just want us to put the rent issue into the back of our mind, to say that can really dismantle the whole movement. And I mean, I understand that we are not in a formal structure that everybody's talking about, but what I had in mind is that because we've got different organizations that we're working with, and I would really appreciate if we can maybe just think about somebody in the group earlier on spoke about contributing on monthly basis, which is fine. But if we're making it a membership, a movement, I know that me as Mampolo, I'm a member of this movement, and therefore I am expected to put in this cash. And those technicalities of bank account registration, they can always come up if we are together. So I think we need to make this as a movement, as a membership movement. And for me personally, when the contribution were being asked the donation, and I didn't have money at the time, and unfortunately I couldn't even go to the match, but I still feel that I'm a part of this movement, and I still feel that I still want to contribute my skills, my money, and everything. So I mean, let us just think of making this a membership, and whoever that doesn't want to be a member of this organization is fine. They can go their own way, and we will be here to support the movement. Thank you guys, but I think you guys did a very good work, and with the restaurant sitting in, then dining our own scarf tins, I think let us start organizing now. And when I say us, I am not expecting the core team that was involved to do the work. Let us also come up with the ideas. Let us also start working with each other than we say bongs this, bongs that. They also have other things that they are doing. And they're doing this out of the love, out of the future, wanting to see the country's future in a bright side. So we cannot, I don't think it's fair for us to really say, put names out there and making it as if we're blaming them, calling out their names to say, I said this to Bongs, I said this to Kwena, and nothing was done. Guys, these people are also doing quite a lot. It's a favor for them really to coordinating the whole thing. Let us also help. Let us also do that. And I also like the idea that the regional structure or the satellite centers or whatever they call, guys, to say if you are in Tembisa, let us mobilize ourselves. Sometimes we don't need to meet in a space because there's some people that really are out there can help and that have passionate about this thing, but because of the limitation in the Twitter, it's really counting them out. So I would really like us to meet at Zoo Lake. It's a free space. We get there, we meet, we discuss, we come back to the group, we say whatever, we say our plans, we share everything. Because I also believe that I know there's a COVID and we need to respect the restrictions, but I also believe that sometimes it's very important. It's very important for a physical meeting so that we can really see the people that we're working with. I mean, in the group we have some people are saying that there were 5 that were there, and in the group we also have people that are against us and the people that don't do what we say. I've been in quite a lot of places recently, and believe me, the mask have shaken the world. Everybody's taking up the spaces now. But thank you. I'm just gonna close off to say thank you guys for the work that you did and being part of the movement. I would really like to be a member. And by saying a member, let's be a membership let's be a membership movement and see how things are done. Thank you.
Uh, Thanks a lot, Mampulo Matlala. Those are kind words, and we feel humbled when you say that. Though we have seen a lot of mistakes that we have done, and we are going to improve with our next campaign. By the way, despite what I've said earlier on about Tina, if the NPO has a campaign that she needs support from us, we will gladly support her. To us, we see that we have bigger things to fight, and what is here, what we need to fight about, it's we need to make sure that we get the country that we deserve. We will support. There's one politician that I don't like. I never voted for that politician ever. But he said something profound today. He said, you know what? Sometimes you need to make sure that you put your differences aside for the cause. So I thought he was spot on that sometimes we need to have giraffe view. We know that there are people who will be actively, like no name brand talked about spies, and yes, there will be spies all around trying to make sure that we get distracted. But it's all of us collectively. We need to realize that, you know what, we are fighting for the cause and we have to succeed. So I may have my differences with Mampulo Matlala, but I must be big enough to say, you know what, we have differences, but what unites us is what is important. Thanks. And I think the mic is yours now, you know what, before we get to Sun.
Okay, thank you guys, Mr. Malangani. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I would like to thank everyone that took part in the campaign. Yes, like I said on our last space, that I wouldn't be able to attend due to work related issues. Though I would have loved to be there, it was I didn't like the fact that I had to uh, check everything on Twitter, how everything went. But the results, we are celebrating the results today. We are happy that whatever that we have been fighting for years finally is actually happening. It's only the beginning, and I would like everyone to continue and press on. However, my question was about the group that Malangani spoke about, I would actually love to be a part of that group. I believe that I'm unable to talk to anyone on Twitter like about some other things. And yes, there is an idea of having to visit these restaurants that are actually hiring the foreigners. I think that is actually a good idea. I would love to be a part of that. The planning and everything, I would love to be a part of that. And I noticed something during the space. Tina was not actually arguing. I think there are people who got that wrong. Tina, I believe that Tina was a bit frustrated because she feels that she could have done something. Not that she was pointing fingers. No, she feels that she could have done something. You understand? She was not fighting the way I see it. So if the way I see it, if she was there, they could have, like, I don't know, it would have been something bigger than it was. But actually, it was big. Not that uh, it was not there were not enough people, but it's the cause that matters. You understand? So I am happy that we managed to get this far. On our next campaign, I will make sure that I will be there. As you know who, I will be there in the forefront. I will be with you guys. So please let us know, and whatever that you need, the donations. I think we should be clear about the donations. We should There should be like the posters that need to circulate regarding the posters, because it really, I did not see anything on my side, or I didn't check. I don't know, but I didn't see anything that says we need there needs to be a donation, because I would have donated for my side. You understand? So please, guys, let us know. We can organize. I myself can design a poster. So whatever that needs to be designed, I can design a poster, and that's what I can do, and some other stuffs. Yes. So guys, please, Malangani, please add me on the group. You can drop me whatever link that I need on the DMs. Thank you.
Uh, thanks a lot. You know what? And one thing that we have learned, by the way, and we were saying this yesterday. Just put your mic on mute. You know what? You know who? One thing that we have learned is that, and I'm not saying you are. We Before the march, we tended to trust a lot of people when they were promising us, and come the day of the march, we had issues after issues. As I'm speaking to you now, we had planned to have 6 buses, and that didn't happen. And the march was supposed to be much bigger than that. You have people who promise that I will bring you X number of people. Some of them said I will come on the day. I don't know whether it was a case of them chickening out or what. So it's one of the lessons that we have learned, to say in future, when people say we are happy to do this, we really want to see the commitment from them. Because you won't believe that it was 3 days of stress on our side trying to organize this. You need to drive to transport, you need to do quotation and all those things. Before you know it is 2 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock, and people are calling your life left, right, and center there. So basically, it's you stopped your day-to-day job for that day prior to that. You had thought that you would probably have half a day, but it ended up being the entire day. It's all about planning and calling people and all those things. And some are canceling at the last minute. There are some who are really committed as coordinators. Some who are on this space, I saw them today, some of them, they completely went off the grid. You could not get hold of them at all, despite them promising, and for 3 days. And people are calling you saying, where is the coordinator on my side? And you can't give them the coordinator that has just gone underground. So it's one of those things that we have learned, that there are people who are committing, and I sincerely hope. I mean, you know who I sincerely hope, and and Mampulu, Mampulu Matlala. I sincerely hope that, guys, you know that this thing, it's more work. Unless you just want to be updated, you don't want to be part of any coordinator or anything. But if you really want to get in, you will soon realize that on the day of the match, after the match, all you want to do is just to go and sleep and wake up the following day and think of something else, because that's how tiring it is. But anyway, without wasting time, I'm not sure. Okay, there's San. Let's have San and maybe take two more speakers and close. No, not close. We still need to discuss a very serious issue. I need guidance from you how much I can disclose, as to we still have funds left. And I said we'll discuss this at a later stage, but I think I must give you just a heads up. We still have funds left, so we need to discuss about. You see, it's one of those. I don't know whether I should discuss with only with people who have contributed, or discuss it with everybody. But all I can say is, we still have funds left. The funds that we have collected, we have used 50%. We still have 50% remaining. So it's something that we need to keep on the back of our mind. But anyway, let's have Sen giving their
No,
presentation.
I think
Also,
with whatever issues that are here, like we said before, we can refund people, so they should just send their bank details, so you redistribute that money back to them. Because I don't want to be in any case be called a scammer in future. Because of I'm the one that said we must distribute your bank details because of we didn't have a bank account. So I think those that have contributed, we can just send them back the money.
I don't know. Hey, I mean, don't are we not going to have new campaigns? I'm
No, I
just
think,
thinking
or
that money
even
can
move
be
them
no,
used.
no,
to
no,
the
no, no.
other
Sen,
groups of
I see.
whatever that they
No,
will
no.
have.
Quena, don't be emotional about
I'm
it.
not
When you're
emotional.
dealing
I
with
think you
people,
know me when I'm sounding emotional and when I'm
no,
in
listen,
tagged.
hey, listen,
I'm
Quena.
tagged actually. I'm not emotional.
We deal with we deal with situations like this, and I think what Sen is saying is right. We will have, let's rather, because I for one, I know there are people who have contributed slightly more, and for those people who have gone slightly more, I concur with you, and we need to have discussion with them. It's whether we should give them their money back when we have more campaigns, not
Ngicela
all of their money,
ungimute
just a
lapho
portion.
please.
Sorry.
Ngicela ungimute. I'm
Oh,
having
okay.
a problem with the mic yami.
No, it is off
Yeah.
now
So
actually.
yeah, I did. I put him on mute. So it's one of those that we need to discuss, to say, those who have contributed slightly more, do you want us to give your money back, or we can give you the statement and indicate to you that your money is there? So when we run the campaigns next time, we don't have to come back to you and ask for money. It's something that we'll have to discuss. But Sen, give your presentation, please.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I mean, let those people DM you, right? I don't think it's something we need to discuss here. Okay, thank you very much. I want to state that whole issue. Yeah, that guy, the I don't know, the lawyer guy, whatever. I don't need any any more discussion around it, right? I mean, he sounded like even the same age as my daughter, so that's his problem. Let him sort it out. But what I appreciate is also that we are fighting the same war, so it doesn't matter, guys. Let's let it rest. Now, what I want to understand is I understand the issue around occupying restaurants. Yeah. Is this our next campaign? And is it the only campaign? I've been listening for the last hour
And I've been hearing people just reiterating problems we know. And the only next step that I had, maybe I'm wrong, is that we could occupy the restaurant. But I wanted to also ask for the floor to support the guy Godivasities about foreigners occupying those space. And if any of you are wondering whether he's speaking the truth, I'm in the industry, and I can tell you for a fact that it is true that inna the professor, inna the deans, and they give foreigners those spaces. So we ought to be again thinking, if we close at the restaurant, we have to come up with a campaign to control our institutions. Thirdly, we need to come out as one voice, guys, in a social space. It hurts me every time Kukavare, people that live in suburbs, in security, bona abana the problem. Let me tell you personally, my child is sitting at home, no space cover seat. But I can tell you, Hanga Yakovets, there's 60% of students who are foreigners. And yet my children could not even get a space. So it is not true that we are not impacted because we don't live and work and play in estates. We drive out, we get spiked, we get served by people who are not our own in restaurants, and it does pain me. So please, can I ask you, Halibua on social media, don't hell abuse on people like us who live in estates, because we do actually also get impacted. This is my number one, a plea on my own. I was displaced by a foreigner at work. It was not an African foreigner, it was a woman from Spain who came in 2 months' time, had gotten rid of 90% of us, and she replaced it with people from Europe. Meaning we are stupid, are not discussed, but we've been successful in that organization for the last 15 years. So don't sit out there and think restaurants, think about every sector in South Africa where foreigners come and replace us. Thank you.
Elson, I don't think, because I usually write something like that. When we say people that stay in high fence estates, I usually write that. I'm not referring to people that support the movement. Usually, when I say that, I'm poking people that I know that they are against the movement. So yeah, I hope that you
And all
can.
right, by the way, hey?
Yeah, I
No, all
usually
right,
say
by
that.
the way.
I'm just saying that
Yeah,
because I know that
yeah,
I'm the one that usually says it.
yeah. Mara, all right, you are not wrong, but I'm not saying not all of us
No, I'm not
we are
also
with you. Yeah,
generalizing. I'm also not
yeah.
generalizing. I'm just
You are
saying,
not wrong, by the way. Yes,
yeah. So,
you are not wrong.
but I
Yeah.
think even with us saying all these things, yes, the restaurant thing, I know that earlier on I agreed. Unfortunately, I got cut off because of my network issues. Guys, whatever that we are doing on the other side, we need to find a way of us fighting our government because whatever that we do, even if we go to restaurants, you understand, if the government itself, there's certain set, departments are not implementing what they're supposed to be doing, we will be just fighting back. The issue that is even now here, if we are going to deal with even these illegal shops that employs illegal immigrants, we need to go to Home Affairs. That thing it needs to be there. That is, I think, that is the campaign that we should be going to be fighting because of this issue. Because Home Affairs, if we can't get rid of them doing their duty and ensuring who is who in this country. We'll just keep on going to the restaurant, going where, and because of Zolan was even saying that these people get a permanent residency after they become deans in universities. So we need to be even directing our fight towards DTI and be going there to go fight. So even if we go to restaurant, yes, it's a brilliant idea, but it's a short-term idea. It can't be something we are saying we are going to build capacity towards. The capacity that we need to be building is to be addressing Home Affairs and getting them to do the right thing and audit this permits that they have issued, because those are part of the reasons why. And we can't shy away from the issues, yeah, Bushiri, how we expose that our systems are actually even being sold out. So it doesn't mean that necessarily everyone who's occupying these skills or having these permits are actually even recognized by Home Affairs. So I think that is my take on this. So we need to have short-term goals and long-term goals. I think that's what we need to be working on as a group, as the collective.
Agreed.
Uh,
I'm
yes,
done.
Sen, thanks very much. But remember, the issue around these institutions, I think we need to take a cue from someone like you who has an expertise, who has the inside info as to how it operates. You know, Zolani just gave us a high level, and we need people who are in that sector to give us a full picture of how things get done and how South Africans are systematically being excluded from those institutions. So we rely on people like yourself.
I'll be very happy to contribute.
Thanks a lot. I know you are an action person, and I know you don't like talking forever. Miss P, what do you have to say? And guys, if there's anyone who wants to repeat what has already been said, please let's not do that. Let's move on, because if we're going to talk about problems that we have, we already know the problems that we have. And if you're going to talk about the foreigners who don't want to leave, we already know all of them claim South Africa is xenophobic, but they don't want. So please come up with something new. Miss P, Mrs. P,
Yes,
what's yours?
yes. Okay, thank you. Hi everyone. So basically, I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that you did, especially the march yesterday. Fully appreciated. In my case, though, I am based in Gqeberha, former Port Elizabeth, and I did write on my timeline that if something is coming up or if there's other patriots that are this side, I'm willing to be on the ground and do the work. And with regards to picketing outside the restaurants, I do support that. I'm not sure whether you can remember sometime last year, the political party with the red berets, they were picketing outside Clicks after that advert, and nothing was ever done to them. So why can we not exercise the same right? I mean, if we are civil and we are just there and we're making not necessarily making our voices heard, but making our presence felt, then it should be fine because we're not disrupting anything. We're just creating consciousness, if I can say it like that. And then at the beginning of what do you call this thing? This space. I can't remember who said this, but someone was saying that they were just telling us about the closure of Bait Bridge and how it will affect the economy and so forth. And all I wanted to say, this is just my 2 cents, that as someone who's been working in imports and exports for a lot of years, I can confirm that mainly the main port of entry in South Africa is the Durban port. It's via sea. I mean, the road freight only accounts for about what, maybe 30%. So even if there is an impact, it won't be that bad. But Zimbabwe, though, will definitely be be affected, because 70% of their imports and exports are via the Durban port, and then they receive the rest via Mozambique because it's an inland country. So other than that, guys, I think we must just, keep it up, because at the end of the day, like all the things that we're doing, we're not doing them necessarily for us, but we're also doing them for our kids. Our grandparents fought very hard for this country, and we can't just sit and fold our arms and watch things deteriorate. While we're still alive, we've got breath in our bodies and whatnot. Let's just do it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss P. Thanks a lot
Mangalani,
for
I
that.
just remembered something when Miss P was talking. Guys, is there any patriots in KZN? Somebody gave me a call earlier to ask who are based in KZN, because they want to get to know other people there.
Okay, let's just say Kwena, they will send you a DM and then we'll pick it up from there if it's acceptable to you.
Yeah, but they must send the DM on my other account because this one I just use it for like emergency. As you can see, my other account
Yeah,
is still
the
co-hosting, but I'm
other
not
account
here.
is the other account is ruralitarian, so it's fine. I'm sure they will find you. Or if they can't get all of you, they can send me a DM. I will pass that info to you. Uh, Dallas and then Faye. Okay. So before Kwena, are we accepting new speakers or we are closing? Because we can run until 12 o'clock easily.
No, I think we can close, but I think we also need guidance on the 50% of that money or whatever you guys have decided. Because now I can't remember. I was not here half of the time.
Okay. So let me just say to everybody that we have paid for transport. Mainly, we paid. In fact, all our money is used for transport. There wasn't any serious logistic that we paid anything. It was mainly on transport. So we only spent half of the money that was donated, and we still have the other half. Hence, I was asking that because I'm asking if we need to give it back to them or we keep it for our next campaign. But then there's one issue that is also burning. The issue is around we need to send statement to everyone who contributed. But how do we send a statement without displaying the names of people who donated? Because there are people who said, I'm donating, but I don't want my name to be in there. So we need to have a discussion Gwena and all the organizers, as to how do we do that, because we need to make sure that we account for every cent that was spent, and everyone who contributed needs to know how their money was spent. That's very important. We can't be running we can't be running this thing and not be transparent. We need to be very transparent. That is important, more so when we're dealing with people's donations. So I don't know, but for those people who have donated huge, slightly bigger amount, we will be contacting them directly. I checked here on the space today. I don't see Mike on the space. I was expecting to see someone like Mike. I don't see Mike. I'm saying Mike because Mike actually donated it publicly. So I actually wanted to talk to him here publicly on the space as well, to indicate that, Mike, we have some funds available. So it's important that we have discussion with those people. But for those who have donated your $20, your
I think you're
$50,
forgetting Hosanna.
sorry.
You're forgetting Hosanna also.
Yes, no, true. No, absolutely, yes. And Osana as well, if she's here on the space, we also need to have discussion with Osana to say it went a long way. And what is important, what we have learned on our side, a big lesson that we have learned, we have had discussion with everybody. The biggest lesson is that when people say, I've got people, we honestly need some form of commitment, because we ended up at a point where we had transport. Initially, it was an issue where we had no transport. There were a lot of people saying, we want to come. And then we got into a panic mode to say, you know what, there are these people who want to come and we don't have enough funds. So let's go back and request for more funds. And we came in here and requested for more funds. And our patriots were, I must say, they came along nicely and said, well, we will give you more funds so you can get more transport, only to find that last minute people are saying, no, 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 I'm not coming. it get to a point where the bus companies were fighting us, saying, you said you wanted to take 6 buses, but suddenly you are canceling. What do we do with your money now? What do we do? We have drivers on. Remember, drivers are not always there. But on that morning, yesterday's morning, the drivers were there, just waiting for us to give them the pickup point and drop off. But suddenly we are telling them, no, no, we don't need this bus. They're saying, what do we do with these drivers? Because these drivers, if he walks in here, he came all the way from wherever using his money, his petrol, and now you're telling him to go back. And it's lockdown time. These guys are not earning a lot of money. What do we do? So we ended up with that situation. It wasn't nice. So hence we are saying we have learned our lessons. So our coordinators going forward, when they said or somebody say I'm willing to come, we will say, you know what, we need to have some form of commitment to indicate that you indeed going to come. And as for the coordinators, what going forward, we will be demanding that a coordinator needs to have more than 10 people. So, because really we can't afford to have 1 or 2 people here and there. It becomes very inefficient to organize transport. So that goes to some of us who are in the who are the main organizers. We need to make sure that we have a core of team that is ready. So when we have campaigns like this, those are people that should easily be available to go. And knowing that it's a bit difficult to get people, because our South Africans, they will only come when they know that there's free beer and free t-shirts. And we were not offering that because we don't have funds to offer for those things. So, and with your permission, Kwena, before I close, I see there's Elmo. Elmo is one of the people who contributed. So I feel that it would be unfair if we close and we're talking about finance without him saying something. So, if with your permission, let me accept Elmo and hear what Elmo has to say.
I don't have a problem with Elmo speaking. Let him speak.
Yeah. Elmo, you made it on time. The mic is yours, please.
Good evening, compatriots. My apologies for joining late because we've been sabotaged. I think we're going for 13 hours now without electricity here in Ekurhuleni. The similar attacks that happened in 2016 when DA took over City of Joburg, it's now happening now here in City of Ekurhuleni for 12 hours now. Germiston doesn't have electricity. So yeah, I've been charging in the cars, my devices. I'd like to thank everyone who supported the movement yesterday. We met lots of patriots that were there. So what I'd like to emphasize is that, this was the test of the waters. It was a massive, almost like a national campaign that we held yesterday. So this is where we were supposed to identify compatriots and people who were true to the movement and those who could have sabotaged the movement, as you were saying, Mangalani. Things like that were expected. It reminded me of when, when SAFTU, I was part of the labor movement back then. When SAFTU was formed back in 2016 and there were certain trade unions that were supposed to move away from COSATU, is the exact same thing that we experienced when certain union members and certain people were supposed to move away from them. Some were kept and some were used by the then regime, the COSATU regime, to sabotage some of the followers into transitioning into the new independent movement. So what I'd like to say is that Mangalani, don't be surprised and don't be afraid of what we experienced yesterday. It's something that we contemplated. And for us, for some of us, it's going to form a strategy for us to say, moving forward, we're going to acquire our own vehicles. we're going to make plans, because the major issue, the major challenge we discovered yesterday is that all that was needed was logistics. And with the current situation that we are facing with the high petrol costs and the issues of communicating with other members, there was a chairperson of Operation Dudula yesterday. I can't remember whether it was the one from Alex or it was the one from Deep Kloof. But he also emphasized the same thing, to say, you can have so many, about 250 people in these WhatsApp groups. That's why they themselves, they didn't rely a lot on the social media groups. They, from the Generation X of 1976, they rely more on street mobility and social mobility, because they can make operations to say, we want to evaluate a certain community of the legitimacy status of the nationals that are staying there, but only maybe a few of them out of the 250, maybe 15 or 50, would actually go out to the physical campaigns that they are holding. So that for us gave us strength to say, we know about social media. It can be infiltrated by the very same government officials that we are fighting, who are captured, who are pushing this corruption agenda of illegal immigration and criminal immigration in the country. So what we have to rely on is, we have to go back to our communities. Let's mobilize our communities. As we are saying, we still have our communities that are not part of Amaward committees of the councillors. Let's engage them, continue with the petitions that we are having, and that is where we are saying that, because this is a non-politically aligned movement that we are pushing, it is easy for us to get support. For example, we can have people from the very same ANC come and support us to say, we don't like this illegal immigration issue, regardless whether it's from Europe, it's from Asia, or it's within the very same continent. We have people who are patriotic about this issue. And as even with the current opposition parties that we are having, we have those people who are also taking a stance to us to say, we will support you. Hence why some of them will tell us to say, just don't publicize our names, to say that we are funding you, because they also are saying they don't want this to become a political issue, to say, no, they want to destabilize their own political parties or their unions or whatever federations that they belong to. So it should not deter us to moving forward. So to also advise on the issue of how we can tackle the funding issue, I'd say we can host a space or any meeting with the consent of those people who funded. It's easy for us to omit the list. You can just use the Microsoft app to try and omit, maybe to identify those people who requested that they remain anonymous, to say maybe it's donor 1, donor 2, donor 3. They will be able to identify themselves according to the funds that they donated, and then you can give them those statements to say, this is how much of the funds people have donated in totality, and here is the balance. But what I'd like to encourage our patriots in that is that we can retain some of the funds. Like I myself, I don't expect a refund, because I want us to grow. As we're saying that we're going to have many campaigns. Department of Labor is one of those targets, because that is where the major issue is lying with this immigration issue. Home Affairs as well. We might, some of us were expecting that we might go to the border post, as we are saying, to say, in Limpopo, we have to go and mobilize. Bushbuck Ridge, we have to mobilize. Pongola, KZN, we have to mobilize. Even the ports of entry, Richards Bay, we have to mobilize. So those are the major departments that we need to make sure that we are visible. So as part of us to actually continue with the program is to keep funding the logistics. And some of the strategies we can use is that we can have some of our compatriots who are saying the regalia to say maybe for them they are charging maybe 100 rands for a simple t-shirt or 150 for a golf shirt or maybe 200 rands for a flag. So in order for us to benefit, we can use what they call piggyback franchising. That is what they are using in small business to say, for us to fund ourselves, every person who buys regalia from that compatriot, 20 rands, for example, or 10 rands, 10% or 15% out of that, what they are doing, they can fund it back to the movement to say, for us to have logistics to mobilize the communities that will be going to. That is what we can do for ourselves so that we can continue our operations. As we are saying that we don't want to be captured. We know there are certain radical, so-called radical organizations who are being funded by so-called prominent business people or so-called capturers of the country. So in order to isolate ourselves, we can even go further. I won't discuss it here on this platform. As I was saying that we are infiltrated. We can guide each other to say, in order for this movement to last for 5 years and so forth, how can we strategize under the very same banner of NPO in order for us to keep surviving? Because what we are doing, we are no different from what Greenpeace Africa is doing. And that's exactly how we should be strategizing ourselves to say we want to engage the South African citizen, every person with a legitimate ID. Those are the people who actually should be driving and finding this Put South African First movement. So those are the things we can engage, we can have spaces, or we can have physical meeting with you, the national conveners and organizers of Put South African First. But I'll say that I was very happy yesterday. I was actually, happy to see our youth. Some of us, like when we are civil servants, I was so happy to see. In the past, we used to rely from Aboko Satu, the SAMU, the what you call, these were the vanguards of civil servants in public sector and in public service where this corruption of immigration was happening. The Nehaus that we used to belong to, the Samos and Satus, those were the people who were guiding us and protecting us to say, hey, we are having illegal foreigners infiltrating the bursary systems of civil servants. Hey, we are having corruption of certain clerks in the hospitals who are taking bribes instead of turning away those illegal foreigners from the hospitals and the clinics. Those were the people in the past who used to safeguard us as citizens to say, we are not going to compromise in South Africa. But looking forward, it's us now, those people who are now the vanguards advocating for those organizations, those trade unions who are now sleeping on duty, who are now captured by the very same kleptocracy, as we know that some of the organizations such as Abu Satao, whose treasurer general was a Zimbabwean. Imagine a whole movement that started around 1987 during apartheid. Now they have one of their treasurer generals being a illegal foreigner who was a Zimbabwean, who was busy pushing corruption here in the country. So that is why I'm saying I'm very proud and I'm very happy of what we achieved yesterday. And it should not deter us. We should push forward because this is a serious issue that we are having. And we had members, we don't want to compromise them, members who have been exposing the very same illicit corruption that is happening at Home Affairs. We should continue supporting and protecting those people that we are talking about. Some of them are in the army, some of them are in immigration, some of them are in the SAPS. let's continue holding hands, compatriots, because as we are saying that this is a serious national issue. And what we did to help Professional Council of South Africa yesterday, we shook them yesterday simply by marching towards them and seeing what we did. Nobody ever did what happened yesterday at the Health Professional Council of South Africa, because there were cases that Cat Lunch was covering regarding their corruption with the foreign health practitioners, because it's not only doctors that's there. We have pharmacists, we have social workers, we have a physiotherapist, all different categories of health professionals that are there, except for nurses, because nurses is in South African Nursing Council in Late Street, just behind the Union buildings. So what we did, guys, let's continue the
We even
energy
had
that
to
we have.
hold you back,
Let's
Elmo.
continue. Bongs?
I'm saying we even had to hold you back from entering that building and storming that building.
Yes, hey, guys, it was very, very militant what we had yesterday. So that's why I'm saying
Thanks,
let's continue the
thank,
oomph. Let's continue the
thanks,
spirit.
thanks, Elmo. And I think you offered a very good suggestion, and we will take you up on that. I saw there was Mike here. I want Mike to speak, and then Hosanna after Mike, and then new speakers. Please forgive us. We won't be accepting any new. We want Mike and Hosanna to be the speakers and close our space. Mike, the floor is yours.
Good evening, compatriots. My apologies also for coming in so late. I think we came in almost at the same time with Elmo. I think we experienced the same issue because I just decided to, because I was about to sleep, and then I decided when I look at the time, maybe the space is still on after we had our electricity restored, and then fortunately I found you guys still here. I don't have much to say because I heard you guys talking about the issue of transport, which was what I would have actually loved to have raised had I had enough chance to come in on time. So I think you guys have covered the issues that we experienced with the buses yesterday. So I'm not going to dwell on that. And then I also just want to say thanks to all the patriots, everybody that participated yesterday, and for every role that each and every one of us played. I think we made it a success, and we kept it very orderly as we promised during our preparations. And then also, last but not least, just want to say thank you very much to our MC, Ndate Khutazo, Morena. You did a great job yesterday. You handled our our, what do you call it, match very well. You led us very well from beginning, because when we arrived there at the venue at the church square, we found you there already leading and keeping people busy up until at the
Mamello,
union buildings.
sorry Mike.
Very well done.
Mamello kopa atime ntho, atime ntho. Berekeng. Mike. Kana tswela pele tshwarela.
Yeah.
Mamelo, you'll
So
speak
yeah,
later.
that's almost what I wanted to cover for now.
No,
Everything else, I think you guys have covered everything.
no, Mike, you haven't addressed a big elephant in the room. We declared that we have 50% of money left. So we said those who contributed slightly more, there are two proposals on the table, and we'll take guidance from them. It's either we give them a 50% back, because we understand it's Black Friday tomorrow, or we keep the funds so we don't have to bother next time when we run campaigns to say.
Yeah.
So we'll take cue from them. So hence we said let's see what Mike has to say, and we also have Osana coming down after you.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. I think that was before I came in. I didn't know you guys had such a discussion. Now, for my own contribution, I think I gave it wholeheartedly for the cause of this movement, and I am not expecting anything in return because, like Elmo has said, we are still going to have more activities in the future, which I think will need more funds. So that will have at least we will have something to start on. Um, yeah, and then the other issue that I think I should just raise is that I don't know if Mario has was here to just confirm that we did receive confirmation from the presidency office that the acknowledgement of our for the receipt of our memorandum. So I did receive an email today confirming that they did receive it. However, they also referred us to the Home Affairs, which they said are also, or rather, the right people to address, I think, most of our issues with. So I think they are actually trying to share the blame, or rather also maybe directing us to also approach them with this illegal immigration issue that we have. That is what that is actually briefly what the email stated as I read. But we did sign the documents when the gentleman Mudau came back, and I have copies with me, and then some are with other um, patriots, including Mario. Yeah, that's about it from me, patriots.
Thank you, Mike. I will take that as an invitation. They're inviting us to visit Home Affairs and Labor Department,
Yes,
but we will address that accordingly, because I get the impression that people are saying it would be helpful if we do engage Home Affairs, Labor Department, some of these institutions that employs, like our tertiary and the restaurants. So a, we need to find a plan of action that is tight enough so we can keep pressing for the whole of next year. And
absolutely.
uh, importantly, I think we must start with the hanging fruits and the quick wins that we can win. We can go for them while we are tackling this big elephant on the side. But it's a program that we will have discussions with you on and ongoing. But I'm still waiting, Mike. You haven't told me what's happening with Dudula in Yeovil. Remember, I indicated that I will want to come through as well.
Yes. Yeah, also thank you very much. I thought I would also talk about that. I actually meant to approach Ugalela earlier before our space started to just ask her to liaise with Zandi, because I know she's got Zandi's contact, so she could find out for
Okay.
us. But we still
So
have time. We still have time,
d-
so we can
do
cover that
that, because
maybe during the course of the week.
some of us have resolved to support anything that is pro put South Africa first.
Yes,
The support that we got from them was much
tremendous.
appreciated, and yeah, and we really want to support them going forward as well. Because remember, the cause, we are fighting for the same cause, so it's only
Yes,
proper that we
yes,
join hands. There's very little things that divide us, so we are more than happy to close our eyes on what divide us and only look at what unite us. They
yes.
always say,
As a
if you are a country and you are invaded by foreign army, which is what has happened with Afghanistan, you stop fighting amongst yourself. You first fight the enemy. When the enemy is defeated, you can then go back and resume with your fights. So that's the mode
yeah,
that I am on, to say I may have differences with this and that group and that political party and that, but if a political party is pro South African, I'll make sure that I support them, and then later on, when we have won the fight, I can resume my fights with the family member. Thanks,
hundred
Mike.
percent, 100%.
Let's give the mic to Sana then, if you are done.
Okay.
Mangalani, sorry, can I just come in there?
Okay.
Dudula operations, yeah, they normally share with us their activities. So once they've confirmed the dates and times, I will share in the other groups and on Twitter as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hosanna, the floor is yours. Take the mic, please.
Good evening, Patriot.
Good evening, Osana.
Good evening. Okay, I'm at work anyway, but I would like to say thank you guys, for what you are doing, guys. I really appreciate you. So I just love what you guys are doing. So I'm happy to do everything that I can assist. So regarding the money, I don't need a refund. I'm cool. All I need to know from you guys, I want to start to do a stop order where every month I can send, money for this, for you guys. That's all I want to do.
No, I mean, I'm going to run away when people talk about stop orders. I'll run away. Please, not today.
Mangalani, I think there are people who want to speak before we close off. So I think it's only fair if we can give them a bit of chance to speak, those who haven't had an opportunity,
Bongs,
because
Bongs,
they are crying, saying that,
Bongs,
they yes,
Bongs, Bongs. Can you hear me?
yes,
Okay,
yes, yes, yeah,
we will allow, I see you've already accepted Mamelo. We will allow Mamelo to speak. I see there was Dallas as well who wanted to speak. I'm not sure if Dallas still wants
yeah,
to.
just, brief and sweet, as you
Yeah,
always say.
it's fine. We
No,
will
I
have
hope I
Mamelo.
didn't stop Hosanna, guys. Hosanna, I was not stopping you. I was just
No, no, Osana is
making it
done.
like,
No, Osana is done. So
okay.
we will take Mamelo, and if Dallas is on the line,
Where is
we'll also
Dallas,
take
guys?
Dallas as
Where
well.
is Dallas?
Mamelo, the floor is yours. Take the mic, please.
No, thank you very much, guys. I just wanted to say big up to you guys. What you did takes courage, and all I can do is to applaud you and to say that you had the guts to take on the government and the system. Um, for me, it's more about somebody said on Twitter, one of the posts, to say, Horana, the employed actually much for the unemployed. And it takes one to actually reflect on that kind of a statement to say, Horana, people who are unemployed are still sitting in the townships and they chose not to take part. And yet, people, I don't know whether we're in the same class or what's happening, but some of us, took time from work to go and be part of the march, you know. So I just have a few points that I want to highlight. One is the pledge. People were debating as to whether we are continuing or we want a refund of some sort. Myself, I don't want a refund. I did pledge and I wanted to remain anonymous. But now the cat is out of the bag, so there's no anonymity anymore. So I would say, Horna, I want my contribution to go towards the outreach programs, whether be it towards the t-shirts or whether you buy water for people when they go there, or you buy them whatever. I really don't mind Horna, whatever that is remaining. However, I still feel Horna, the platform, yeah, put South Africa first, can actually be not elevated, but it can be improved towards the AfriForum kind of setup. And there were few speakers who actually made a few pointers towards that to say, what now can we then look into that to say, what now how do we then make it to give it more meat, a belly motive, towards biting the system. um, I'm more what do you call it? Uh, Warming up to the idea of suing the government if Luhurna, you become a victim of crime that has been either perpetuated by foreign nationals or whatever, because the system, it means the system has failed you, and then therefore you have a case in court. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't even have a law background. hore na nkare na, how do you go around it? But I know hore na the system does allow you to say hore na, then therefore when you then become a victim of a crime that has been perpetuated by somebody who the system has allowed to either infiltrate or whatever. So there's a case there. So AfriForum has a platform like that. So I'm basically saying hore now I'm more comfortable saying hore just look into that. To say hore how then do we capacitate ourselves to look into that. That's my second pointer. The other one that I was a bit offended by yona, yeah, middle class. I felt hore you guys are harshly judging people belong hore have made it in life, whether be it by the hard work or whatever. So some of us, yes, I'm in Hyde Park. I'm 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 okay, you know. So when people are saying now we are not affected and therefore these things are happening only in the township, look, people in the township, especially in my family, they're taking from me. So
Mamelo,
mhm.
Mamelo, I don't mean to be rude or cut you off.
Oh no, that's fine.
Uh, no, you know, the point that you're making, they are perfectly valid. And Kwena did indicate that normally when it's normally used because, you know, normally those people who are living in gated communities,
Yeah.
they sort of like majority. And by the way, I mean, we really appreciate that there's now more and more people who are living in the let's call it
Gated
previously,
community.
yeah, gated communities, who are now see the impact of illegal immigration. You know, in the past, people will complain. I remember clearly in 2008 when there was those attacks, and people were so angry about it. Say, how can you attack our properties are being devalued? So
Yeah.
it just shows that there's bias in those,
Yeah,
but
but
you are not one of them. And Kwena did
mhm.
indicate that that is mainly used for people, you know, like in media, you get these presenters who are anti us. The minute you open your mouth, they call you xenophobic and all those things. So Mamelo will have more space to have this discussion. As for AfriForum, we had AfriForum guy some weeks ago. He gave us pointers on where to go and all those things. And right now we are on the right track. But for us, we need to make sure, because we don't have resources, we need to make sure that we drive awareness, we fight the government, we take the fight to Home Affairs, Labor Department, and all those things. We need to go
Yeah.
to health sector and go to the CEOs of hospitals and clinics and find out how is that possible? What are you doing about it?
Yeah.
So I don't
No,
mean to cut you short. I'm just worried about
that's
time,
okay.
Mamelo.
No, that's fine.
And we really appreciate your contribution and what you have offered. We are saying thank you, and it will go a long way. And like what Elmo suggested, and it wasn't only Elmo, we will have a space or WhatsApp where we will open the books for everyone to inspect and ask questions, and that should happen before Monday this week. We should have that for everyone who has contributed. We'll do that, and those who haven't contributed, please don't feel left out. It's just that it's proper to disclose what is in the books to those who contributed. It's only if they are saying go ahead and disclose it to everybody, then we
Yeah,
can do
no,
that.
Mangalani, I think
Yeah.
that is important. You know, you mentioned such an important, issue, and for clarity, people who came to my DMs, guys, don't ask me in terms of, the donations. I'm not in that department, and I haven't received any monies. So, yes, Mangalani, as is pointing out, there will be books and audits, for people to see, and there will be transparency. But I don't know. I think there was a lady earlier on who said, but I asked Bongs this. some things, I'm also congested. I had things to do, but also some things I'm not in the department, to
No,
answer and all of
Bongs,
that. So
Bongs,
yeah.
don't feel bad about it. We are all together in this. We want to build this together. So the fact that we're answering now, it's good enough. You don't have to feel bad that you may have not answered correctly or not said. It's fine. I mean, it happens. We know we'll learn from some of these things. Exactly what other speakers have been saying. What is important is we need to make sure this fight that we are fighting, we need to win. Dallas, you are our last speakers before we close. Oh no, we have Faye. Okay, Dallas, have a quick word, and then we'll have Faye, and then we close.
Yeah, Faye also. Yeah, I wanted to say Faye. And also,
Okay,
guys, brief,
great.
sweet, and short, as Mangalani says. I see also Classic Man is raising his hand. Okay, it will have, he'll squeeze you in, Classic Man. So it's Classic Man, Dallas, and Faye. Ne?
I won't even greet. It's my turn.
Yes, Dallas.
Okay, I wanted to speak on the issue of coordinating the campaigns. We should get people in. I was listening to that space during the day of those people who were talking how they're gonna defeat this mortality story. So I'm saying we should coordinate these campaigns. We need to have a coordinate so that people from Benoni, people from East Free State, people from Eastern Cape, like KZN, can get, like, they can group themselves so that when we have a campaign, especially campaigns like we occupy Spare, we occupy KFC or whatever, we don't occupy the one in Camden Park only. We must occupy all the Spare. The Spare must know that we are on to them that day. We either East Rand go to such a place, Joburg go to Greenstone and all that. That's what I wanted to say. Coordinating the Spares. And then another thing is about we don't need to be only end up in Twitter. We mustn't only end up in Twitter. We need to have a Telegraph group. Is it Telegram? Telegram or WhatsApp group. That's also another thing that I wanted to talk about then. I'll leave it there to give the other space.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr.
We had a
Dallas.
chat about that earlier on, and you are on the right track, and we are definitely going to do that. Thanks, Dallas. And please, when that happens, please, guys, avail yourself and give us the number so we can share the number so we can have this discussion on WhatsApp and Telegram. Uh, who's next?
Faye,
It's Faye, right?
Faye. It's
It's
Faye,
me.
and then it's
Good
you know
evening.
who.
And me.
Good evening, everybody, and the hosts. I just have one thing to address. I heard everybody just mentioning that we need to go to Home Affairs and Labor. I just wanted to bring clarity about that. Last year, October, as the 4 registered PSAF, we did go to those departments, both of them. And I did send follow-up emails to them because they haven't responded. So I wasn't sure, guys, if it's a good idea to go back to them. We need to find alternative ways to address those 2 departments because we cannot be marching for the same reason back to the same department. They already have the memorandum with them. They're sitting on it. We haven't had any feedback. So if we need to address Home Affairs and Labor, we need to find alternative ways because the marching did not work the first time. So I doubt it will work the second time. So the approach needs to be intensified and in a different way than the first time that we did it.
Hi, my sister. Sorry. Can I
That's
just come in now? DPSA has a line function where they do battle building function as far as monitoring and making sure organized departments also responds and complies with your Batupuli principles. So if you're having challenges, you then need to write to DPSA, be it the DG or the minister, to say that you have not had any response or positive response from the whatever department that you were engaging, and therefore you are now requesting the minister of that DPSA to then respond, and then from there then it goes to the presidency. That's just my input.
okay. Thank you so much. We will do that. But
In the meantime, we can find other alternatives in case they don't respond in time, because it's been a while. It's over a year. We've been waiting for a response from that
No,
department.
that's fine.
So what I was just
Mm-hmm. That's protocol.
with that,
Again, I'm just trying to give you
yeah,
protocol.
we
Not
cannot.
how it, mm-hmm.
Yes, I understand and I appreciate it, and we'll do it. I was just avoiding the fact that we wanted to duplicate something that we've already done. But what you've
No, but
raised
wait,
now is
Faye,
a good
can
point.
I come in there humbly?
Yeah.
So it won't be a matter of duplicating something. For instance, we went to the union buildings, and they said that they'll respond to us in 7 working days. So after that 7 working days has passed and we have no response from them, it doesn't mean that we'll just end there. We'll have to go and say, hey, you said you're gonna respond in 7 days. Where is our response? You understand? So there's no such thing as duplicating an action. We will do matches until we are ahead. That's the point. We will continue doing something till we are recognized. Because as soon as now you are saying, actually, I don't think it's wise that we go back. They are winning. You were giving them the
No, what
victory.
I
It
was
means you're
saying,
giving
Bones,
up.
what I was saying is we need to approach them differently. Since they did not respond to the match, we need to find another way to attack them. What I meant about duplicating is marching and marching to the same department with no result. So we can take them legally, and also we can take as who advised now, I can't remember her name, sorry.
Imamelo.
She gave us another option. Yeah, Mamelo. Mamelo gave us an alternative, a good one, so that we can get a quicker response. So those kind of things, that's what I wanted, that we should get somehow a way that we can get responses quicker, because we do go to this department, they don't come back. So now if there's a department that can push them to respond, like Mamelo said, then we should utilize those things.
Yeah, because what then happens
That's
in
Okay, fair
court,
enough.
can I
Yeah,
just come in?
point heard.
Sorry, when I'm bonks, ne? What then happens in court is that they will ask you, Hoda, have you then exhausted all the platforms? And then if you miss one step, they will take you back to say, Hoda, you then need to engage. Have you then exhausted those means? And then if you look when you're saying service delivery as far as Batupele principles and stuff, you had not then engaged the relevant departments or the line of function or line function. Then it means you have to go back and some morale, So I'm just proposing to say in your journey, then make sure you engage the relevant departments before you then approach the court system.
Okay, can we have who to speak, and then it's Eddie, and then we are wrapping up. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'll hand over to Mangalani afterwards. These guys have been, crying about the chance to speak. So, Eddie, one or two, and then first who, then Eddie, and then Mangalani will take over from there.
Thank you, Bongs. Guys, we spoke about the donations. I don't know if I'm repeating the same thing, but my problem now is I heard you saying that you considering refunding the people who have donated. So now my problem about that is that was this the last campaign? Because we want to donate actually. So if that was the last campaign, then it means that
No,
people can be refunded. However, we want to donate.
let me answer you quickly on that. It was not the last campaign, but the reason we were saying that it's this donation was requested for this particular campaign only. So it's only proper that if you raised more than what you were targeting for the campaign, it's either you refund. If you're not refunding, the owners of donations needs to agree that yes, put it forward to our next campaign. That's the only reason we're doing it. It's not the last campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I was a bit worried about that, because we believe that we're gonna have a lot of campaigns, like you said.
You are right.
We have to.
You are spot on.
We
So
have to.
that's the only
Yes,
reason
yes.
we were
Okay.
asking the owners of the funds. It was in the case that When we requested the donation, we specifically said it was for this campaign. So it's only proper we then go back to them and ask, is that okay if we refund, or what do we do? Let's have Eddie. Eddie, go ahead.
Can I have 3 minutes? Is it fine?
No,
2
3
minutes.
minutes more than enough. Remember, you should not be talking about the issues that we have with foreigners. We already know that. Go ahead.
I never said I want to talk about the issues that we have with foreigners. I said I need 2 minutes.
Okay. No, go ahead. 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Good. The reason why I've been trying to request for the past 2 hours to be a speaker. You didn't approve me, Mangalani. So I know that some of the things that I'm saying here, some of the speakers have already said that, but I just wanted to say to outline the importance of that. Guys, we need to be a registered organization. Don't intervene, just keep quiet until I finish. We need to be a registered organization with bank account, with a legal firm that represent us whenever we take the government to court, or whenever we're having a disagreement with, and also some legal advice. You talk about a next move of going to the restaurant, and then you sit there. Now you need to ask, the issue that you need to consider is the legality. Is it legal to do that? Don't those restaurant owner have the right to reserve whoever that they want to reserve? Then, the issue is, if these things go like it's happening all over the country, will you have control over those people who are gonna be going there over to the restaurants? Do you know people, when they are hungry, when they go to the restaurants, they're going to take the food, they're going to take everything when they go to KFC and stuff. You won't have control over that. You will not be there. So that next move of going to the restaurant, it's something that's why I'm saying it's very important to have legal firm which gonna be advising us. And then we look like amateurs because we are not organized. Let's start something that's gonna be a legacy, that even when we pass on, our children's gonna carry on this organization with an aim of achieving or completing the mandate that we have or we've set for this organization. With us, we're not going to be taken serious. We're going to go wherever you're going to go. But look at AfriForum, for example. Whenever they go, they respect them. Whenever they go, they fear them. And then they ensure that everything that they want, it's done. We don't have resources now. And without resources, we are nothing. And if there is no companies that are going to donate money to us if we are not registered, because they're going to request Section 18A certificate for deduction purposes. And we can't give them if we're not registered. And without money, we are nothing, guys. Nothing. We really need to be registered. We really need to be formal. We really need to be professional. We don't look like amateurs. Zimbabweans are laughing at us because we look like amateurs. We need to be serious, so that even when any foreign organization are listening to us, they will see that these people know what they're doing. Going to restaurant won't solve any of our problems. We can go there, they will lose revenue for that day. Will that resolve our problem? No. And then should people take things, take food there, and then how we gonna look in the eyes of the people? We're gonna look like we're just bunch of amateurs who just wanna cause distraction. Let's do things formally, professionally. Let's register. Let's do the issue of employment. You say that people are gonna fight for jobs. No, we'll follow our policies that we're gonna draft as an organization. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie, for that submission. There was a person who was raising their hands to speak. I see they are not on the podium anymore. So, in the absence of any new speakers, so I think what we'll need to do is we will close our space. Remember what we said? We will DM everyone who has contributed, so we can discuss the issue about, not discuss, we can show them how the money was utilized from the cent when it was first donated to the time when the march ended, which was yesterday. So let's meet again sometimes before Sunday. Then we can present a statement to everyone who contributed. And for those who haven't contributed, please don't feel left out. You will be included in the next sessions when you have actually contributed. It's just that we maintain it's unfair that we discuss people finances with people who have not donated. On that note, guys, let's have a good evening, and then we will chat sometimes before Sunday. Enjoy your day, guys.
No, thank you, host.